Actually, yeah, I have
Well,
one more question. Are we
oh,
gonna die today?
streams live. Oh yeah, no. Maybe I don't know. I don't think so. I don't
Why do
think
you
that's
think
where
you're
we're
gonna
going.
die?
I just had
Jeez,
to ask.
calm down.
Happens a lot. I feel like a lot of people ask me if their characters are going to die, and I don't know what gives them an idea. I don't know what gives them that idea.
Now, maybe if Tardan swallows his stone and then we hit him in the chest where the stone is, maybe we're gonna die.
That would be messed up, but I would love to see it. All right, if you watch this stream, thanks so much. Session 25, group 5. Wow.
Ooh.
We're going far, really far. So we're gonna get into this and recap wise. I'll make it really short and sweet because I try to do that as best as I can, but then I end up talking a lot. So I'm gonna try to continue to remind myself to keep it short and to keep it sweet. All right, so we have this thing called Twin Crystal of the Other World. That was what was referenced by some entity that called itself the Old One, and that was in the direction of a specific someone that happened to fail their saving throw after interacting with the crystal. It was given information based essentially directed to a place to attempt to cure them of some ailment that is upon them. Now, this place, there's Isle of the Blessed, Felgim, Well of the Nine Realms. It's kind of a bum. They're all one Isle of the Blessed. Felgim's on the Isle of the Blessed, and the Well of the Nine Realms is in Felgim. Right? So one is in all three, and then, right, kind of bum. If you actually go to the continent map, you'll be able to see the Isle of the Blessed, which is off the coast of the western coast, and that is outside Cedric Bay. So it's actually not incredibly far away. Now, you were given some lore on Felgim, right? There was specific information that you were recalling about this place. Gnomes made way there and kind of settled it after Temerian colonizers came over and booted them out. They had specialization. This wizarding school was specialized really in divination and chronergy magic. They had essentially a recruitment center, which is the entirety of the Grand Library, or once was, and that's essentially how they got people from the mainland and got them over to the island. They actually used the Grand Library in Olathe, and they ran that library in order to recruit and essentially educate people of what their research was, because they researched the water. They were all about the Isle's water and the properties it contained. Okay? Now, Nereus, you sung a song, basically try to harmonize with the crystal. In that way, you actually shattered the crystal, destroying it, but somehow you may have taken, or part of that, or complete of it, the power of what the crystal does. It remains to be seen completely of what that all entails, but it showcased a little bit when the water was rushing into the cavern, and you started to kind of channel that purple and pink cackling lightning and that vibration, similar to the crystal did. You all gathered this bluish kind of crystal vein that was in the volcanic rock. That actually is a specific dwarvish name, but it doesn't really pertain too much at this point. Just saying, you know that one of you has 3 pounds of that. And that's it. That's going to really recap us, because we're really in the last part of the recap, which is this chamber. This is above Tresgal's prison, right? This is like from a tunnel, you went up a staircase, and it came pretty much above where Tresgal is imprisoned. The pillars are continuing to extend up here, and there's some sort of magical lock that functions this lightning out of itself into the Tesla coil-esque design, and then to the pillars and down. They have some method of enslaving the beast using its own power. So, in a way, Tresgal is actually enslaving itself with whatever what was done to it to make it undead. So, whatever magic's been put to it by the Lich, that itself is empowering the lock. So, the Dispel magic does indeed work. In fact, it worked for a very brief moment. In areas you do know that you have communication with the dragon. So, potentially, you can dispel it, communicate with the dragon, and the dragon could break free. That is a possibility. However, the dragon is fucking enormous. And you are right above the dragon, which means that if the dragon was to break free, the cavern that you currently exist in most likely will need to be destroyed in the process. So that poses a challenge in itself. So currently you're in the room, you're in the space, and you all are observing the lock that is slightly 9 feet above the rest of the cavern floor and kind of a step, kind of ladder built of the solid bedrock and the stone, just really to kind of raise it up in position to everything else.
All right, well, no one's saying anything. Nereus will kind of cant his head lightly to the side. Treskel, can you hear me?
Yes.
I think I figured out how to get you out.
Oh. Well, then why isn't it done already?
When I let you know it's ready, I'm gonna need you to break free as hard as you can. Can you do that?
I can try.
Are you saying this out loud?
Probably.
Nurse, before you do that, would you mind if I put up, I'm going to jump over the laser beam here, join everyone on the other side, a tiny hut, just in case he feels the need to, fly up?
Well, I was thinking that we would be in that hallway over there, Tardan.
How big is the range? Isn't the range 60 feet for the spell magic?
Simpleton, it's 120.
Still
Now
gonna
he's
cast tiny
player shaming.
hut over here.
You walked into that one.
I did.
You moving the dead mattress at the same time, Harrison. Oh my
Aw.
god. I am deleting him.
That's terrible.
That's so messed up. When you're moving your token, you're moving the dead creatures.
I
Same
just
thing.
wanted them to come with me.
I know, I saw that.
Do your best, sad bear, that the badgers are dead, Harrison.
As my dead bear brothers, my little bears, mini bears.
I do still think that a tiny hut is a good insurance policy. You guys, though?
See why not?
This is one of the few times, Tardan, when what you're saying isn't complete idiocy.
Yeah, I will. Actually, I think. Let me double check the spell. Sir Dougal, I will need you to turn back into normal form. Large creatures cannot fit inside the dome.
Yeah, the bear walks 10 feet away.
Well, I tried. I'll ritual cast Tiny Hut on the three of us, and then Nereus can do whatever he needs to
Sir
do.
Dougal, you might want to be on the other side. Be safer over there.
Okay.
Remember, a
Well,
dragon's
if the
about to
dragon's
fly up
gonna
through
burst up from the middle.
I know, I wanted to watch.
Oh.
Nice, you got popcorn.
Well, I mean, Nereus might fail all of his spell checks. I'll have to wait till tomorrow.
Speaking of, do. I wish you luck on your endeavors, sir, and hopefully we don't die.
And I will give you guidance right before you go to go.
Oh my gosh, we're getting stacked right now.
It's like the most help anyone would ever give Nereus.
And
Don't
the
fuck it
bear
up.
will crap on the floor.
Oh, we're in the tiny hut, so I can't smell that.
Yep.
Are you ready, Transkill?
Do it.
Right, he will cast Dispel Magic.
All right.
I'm gonna have to roll a bunch of extra things.
Yeah,
so.
similar thing
Well, we'll
here.
see if-
So we need intelligence check, and then we're gonna get our.
Oh, the
our
guidance is
inspiration.
already okay. Okay.
It should prompt you for some.
It
of them.
didn't for the. Oh. Oh.
Wow.
Well, I rolled a natural one on that one.
That's a natural one.
That's a yeah.
So we can
That's
say
unfortunate.
That's gonna be an immediate failure. So you're gonna
I
hold out your
told you
hand.
not to fuck it up.
Auden, God.
I think it'll work better if you step outside the hut and then into the hut again after. The barrier might have blocked you.
Magic isn't that powerful, Todden. It's your incessant flute playing. It's all I can hear.
Neither is yours.
I don't even have a flute.
Then how did you inspire me?
Words of encouragement. I told you I wish you
Sure.
luck.
Shoulder rub.
Alright, let me try again. Are you guys doing it again? I mean, he would have used the bardic inspiration. Like, you don't know it's a one.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I'm using everything, but like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
he'll
use
guide you
it,
again.
yeah.
Okay. Popping up. It's gonna get you two of them. Hold on.
Hold on. I'm just gonna remove them.
it didn't prompt
I'm
me anyway.
removing
You
them,
can
yeah.
remove both of
I'm
them.
just
Yeah, it's
removing
fine. I'll just roll.
It's only gonna prompt you one of them.
Oh.
Oh, wow! And the bardic inspiration
Hey.
are coming in. Hey,
30.
30! Okay.
Now, I'll think super loud. I think it's so hard.
Did you say I think super hard?
Yeah,
Yeah, he focuses on the now.
Or did you say I think super loud?
I think super hard.
Oh,
But yeah.
hard.
I mean, that's more of a joke.
Cue the funeral music.
I mean, you were fine for at least 8 hours.
What happens to the tiny hut if the ground beneath it disappears, though?
Just
Mm,
go for a ride.
I think it
I think
forms
the
a
hut-
half sphere is what.
Well, it's a
what's his
half
face
sphere,
is.
right? So, like, when the ground disappears, there's nothing below.
Just hang on.
okay, what do you mean a
Yeah,
half
but I think
sphere?
there's-
Dome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All
It's
right.
a dome, so it's
So as
a,
you throw out your dispel magic, you step outside of the dome to be able to throw the dispel magic
Yep.
out. So you basically come outwards and you're channeling your energy. In addition, you might let some of your song trace through your words, so you're kind of moving through the component requirements of the spell. That begins to send outwards in the direction of the lock. That's what you're targeting. As you do, you can see that the electricity begins to kind of spasm and stop. As that happens in that moment, that subsides, as well as the lighting in the space. All of the blue kind of gems, which most likely could be the same blue crystal in that volcanic stone, those are gone, right? And the lighting and the electricity ceases. Then the shaking of the earth becomes violent. It becomes so violent that none of you are able to actually stand at the present time. The shaking of the ground begins to cave downwards as the dragon explodes through the earth in the direction as where you can feel it could be down, it could be west, it could be east, it could be up, but you don't see it emerging here. So you can just hear the crashing and the sounds of rocks and things moving. And then as you stare into the cavern in front of you, it smashes downwards and begins to cave in, filling space that you can no longer see as the tunnel entrance, which is a crack in this rock, begins to cave and fall down as well. As that happens, debris and other things begin to fall all around you, and you begin to lose sight of each other. So the debris falling downwards, exploding down. You're in the tunnel space. The staircase underneath you collapsed. The bear, trapped in the own segment. Athos, Tartan, trapped in your own segment. The Nereus, trapped in yours. The rumbling becomes far more distant, more subsided, and eventually it stops.
Tresco the Conqueror, did you make it out?
Oh, I made it out. Right. Yes. I am free. Mm.
Will you wait for me?
Will I wait for you? Mm. After that happens, there's a pause in time. A couple minutes, 3, maybe 4. You all are kind of unsure of what's happening. Your vision blocked by some walls I've put down as well, just replicating maybe what's happening. You're definitely stuck in this place. You cannot go down the stair. You're trapped in here by thousands of tons of rubble, debris that's now piled all around you, chamber in front. The rumbling continues again. As it happens, it gets louder and louder and louder. As the ground begins to shake once more underneath all of you, rock and debris begin to fall downwards as you begin to cascade. And then all you around is the crushing of stone, the debris of rock, and the interesting juices of saliva. Then you see the light of Nereus, held in place by a couple of the razor-sharp teeth that form serrations in the dragon's mouth. So the dragon has actually swallowed all of you into its mouth. Picked in part, some of the rocks and debris crunched into the teeth. This dragon is capable of smashing the rock in between all of you with its teeth. It's moving its tongue around, shifting your weight. You all are ragdolls, essentially passengers, what the dragon is capable of. But it does not seem to crunch upon you. The light now, Nereus, you can see your friends. Harrison, you're still in your bear form. Frolic hanging on to a tooth somewhere. All along for the ride. In this moment, you're unclear of where you are. All you can hear is the sounds of rubbles continuing to move around you, the shifting of distant echoes, and the crashing of this dragon.
I think
Was
that went
anything-
rather well.
You know, I'm always up for uncovering a mystery, but never in my life did I think I would ever need to understand what the interior of the mouth of a dead dragon smells like. Rather unpleasant. Do you know where he's taking us?
I'm not sure. I figured he has a destination in mind.
One would hope.
If he doesn't, you might suggest the Isle of the Blessed at Felgrim.
That would
Is
be a
that
shortcut.
Where everybody wants to go. I'm happy if we're not going back to Athena, personally, but
You don't want to go see Marvin.
not particularly, no.
If he wants to make a pit stop and put us on his back and then blow up the Lord's Manor the Lord's Manor at Othema, I'm okay with that too.
Driscoll, do you know where you're headed?
Oh, I know where I'm headed. Question really is, where are you?
We're partners now, right? I will herald your coming and make sure all bow before Driscoll the Conqueror, correct?
That is correct.
Well, great. If you'd like to destroy Othema first, that works for us, or we can head to the Isle of the Blessed either way.
Oh, I have no use of destroying Athena, for there is no reason to destroy the very enemy of my enemy. You have done well. So well. As the breath cackles out of the glands and tracing little sparks and webs inside of the mouth. It lights for a brief blinding moment. All the rock debris that remains inside of the mouth is instantly vaporized. Becomes molten rock, small little pops, and they turn into small bits of dust and debris. And then those are sucked into the throat of the dragon and then breathed out as the dragon imitates its breath. Has no need to breathe, but it still can work that way. It clears the space inside of its own mouth, having full control of its lightning breath to not target any of you. Velgum, you say?
Yes, I believe my minions have business there.
It is a journey.
Are you hungry? We could get you some food first.
Maybe not while we're in its mouth. We don't have to be an appetizer.
So the dragon now rumbles physically. I can hear you. As it echoes outwards in its own mouth. Even if I was hungry enough to eat you, I imagined it wouldn't be very delicious. But I am hungry, and I will feed. Take time while I reach the surface. Dragon is literally tunneling out of the mountain.
Take your time, we'll be here.
So is this like a guided tour? Is there particular stops or walking? It's
Just say, anyone got a deck of cards?
I have a poisonous kit and a bell. You can ring my bell.
What a fun game.
And can I make music with it? Does your bell have more than one ding? Is it only one ding? Can I not make music with your bell?
I mean, it depends on what you define as music, I suppose.
I'd have to say at this point that the bear has found the skeletal remains of some poor creature that is like just totally almost dissolved in here, and the bear is working on like getting the marrow out of the bones, like crunched through one of the bones, like licking the marrow out of the bone.
It's just like something that was wedged behind one of his teeth. Like
Yeah,
1,000-year-old
stuck
leftovers.
in a like a right. He had like a hanger in the tooth, and hold it out, and like starts.
Interesting.
Circle of life, as it was.
Well, this has certainly been fun. I don't know how I'm gonna write about this though.
What rhymes with saliva?
I was more focused on what rhymes with conqueror. How am I gonna spread word of Nereus's new Trezgol the Conqueror friend here?
That is entirely too wordy. That's the
Oh,
snap.
that's why I was trying to give him a nickname, but you know.
Like Trey C. Trezgol the Conqueror.
Yeah, watch out, Tracy's coming.
Tracy's coming for you.
Exactly.
Tracy
Can't
isn't
say it.
Stacy's mom.
So you can't say it too quickly, then it becomes Tracy, which is just not intimidating at all.
At least we don't have to fight the Lich.
I suppose, although I was really curious about the Lich. Who was up to?
It sounded like he had some magic items, though. I kind of wanted those.
Would have loved to peruse his tomes. I'm sure he had all sorts of fascinating information. But killing him would have been a bitch, so there's that.
He's probably dead now. I really doubt whatever was keeping him alive survived the cave-in.
Well, it depends on where he was keeping it.
We survived the cave-in, Todden. We're not a phylacter.
Yeah, that's... I don't think that we survived because of our ability. I think we survived because of your new friend.
It was obviously the hut. We were going to be fine.
No, Trescal the Conqueror is very skilled and looks after those who recognize his majesty.
That is correct.
I don't know why the other characters seem to forget that he can hear everything we're saying.
Because we're in his mouth. It's weird.
I mean, I also haven't
This
been
is a
rude to him.
strange experience for you, little smallings.
Maybe next time we can ride on your back if you would allow us such a great
That
honor.
will happen in but a moment. Have
Wonderful.
no fear.
This isn't the first time I've been in something's mouth, so it's really not that awkward.
And aren't mountains and being underground the worst, Trescal? I hate it.
It is where I live. My crystal
Wow.
layer is hidden deep.
Oh, well,
Dare you
crystal.
insult him?
Yes, but you don't have to dig through it, do you?
Oh, yes, I do.
You can have the mountains, that's fine.
Best of friends. You're just like, fuck this dragon, I want another one.
Give me another one. This one. This
I
one.
figured you would have had some sort of cloud castle or something.
Is it because he has wings? Now who's being racist?
So as time progresses forward, eventually kind of break through, and then it's almost as if you transition into flying. You have to grab on to something, right? Grab on to a taste bud in the dragon's mouth. You got to grab onto a piece of tooth kind of there. Anything you can kind of hold on to as the dragon actually shoves itself off and begins to take flight. As that happens, you're in this motion of kind of dismay and disorientation, throwing yourselves around, but that then subsides. And eventually, it's fine. It's even better than before. Before you're kind of topsy-turvy a little bit and moving. Now it's just kind of gradual. A little bit more time begins to pass by, and then you land. In a theater of mind, no really is to put tokens down onto the board here, okay? So, you land in a tiny, small valley, the crevice of the southern Frosthorns. Dragon had tunneled not in a direction of completely upwards, or you would never be able to hang on. You just fall down into the gullet of the creature. You tunneled in, kind of grabbing you, and then swooping, and then made kind of a diagonal-like tunnel, right? So it kept you somewhat in level inside of its mouth. You then emerge and then flew into this scape. It's cold, it's frigid. The wind around is howling outside. You can't see much of anything because the conditions are so harsh. Blizzarding of snow, cascading down to a small valley. You can see mountains. You can see them through the overcast. You can see them through the blizzard around you, many miles off to the south and to the north. And there's little bits of thickets and brambles of things in the shadows of the snow, but you can't see anything else. The ground is really uneven. It's really rocky. And as the dragon lets you out of the mouth, kind of shoves you a little bit with its tongue, lets you all move as well out of it, just giving you kind of that nudge, if you will. It then kind of curls and pulls itself back a little bit into the overcast of the snow, because this dragon is so large that when it's actually on its back up on its hind legs, you can't see it because it's in the blizzard conditions. So it kind of goes backwards, and then it curls back onto itself, and then slithers its neck down, and then comes and just like lays its head downwards upon the ice and the snow. So you can just be right there up on it.
You're even more magnificent out here, Treskel.
I hate the snow. It's disgusting.
Yes, Todden likes it.
Pathetic. Only creature that I know that likes the cold is, well, pathetic.
That
Just kinda
creature's
grumbles
dead.
and looks and thinks for a moment. Frost giant.
Oh.
Their wolves hunt the howling. Yes, and that dragon, Ithrin. Very, very, very pathetic. It's kind of
Is
looks
that the one you
around,
let go,
shakes their head.
Todd?
It's dead. It's confirmed dead.
Didn't have the strength to kill it yourself.
He let it go like a coward.
But now you have me.
There was a lot of extenuating circumstances, okay?
Make all the excuses you want. We need to fly. Shibison just turns the head as you clamber up onto the neck. Now this is going to be an athletics check. You'll have to climb the dragon's scales and then get onto its back and hope that you can hold on to its scale. And, well, it does have numerous spines and bones. Blue dragon does, so there's a lot of places you can grab on. It's a tunneling creature, so there's many different places, not smooth. But yes, you still have to make an athletics check to actually climb upon this dragon.
No acrobatics, huh?
No, unless you're going to figure out a way to acrobatically scale
I'm gonna
something like
cartwheel up the
Look at that bear go.
that. Oh, you have a climb speed. You don't even need to roll. I should have stated that if you're still a bear. Oh, my gosh. But natural 20.
going to guide myself on that.
Oh, my God.
It isn't gonna matter.
Oh, my God. 2 natural ones and a 6. So you see the bear climb up. The rest of you tried. You're struggling. You hear the guttural voice of Tresgal speak. What is fucking taking so long? This is pathetic. And then pulls itself up with just the bear, and then smashes its talons down right in front of you all, allowing you to climber on that, and then begins to pull itself, lowering its head down, and then basically putting you onto its back instead of watching you struggle. It's absolutely
Thank you,
disgusting.
Treskel. You are even larger than we could have imagined. Our feeble forms can't possibly scale you so easily.
I have never been rode. This is a privilege. I allow no one. Take this as the first offering of our partnership.
Thank you.
You are welcome. I will feed on the journey. You will not leave this back. We have many, many moons to go. I will not care if you freeze. So best to keep yourselves warm. That moment, immediately, begins to stomp forward, crashing out the wings, grabbing into the air, begins to pull themselves. This dragon is so large that when it beats its wings, the actual air is sucked underneath them in the surrounding. So for a brief moment, when it pumps in full force to pick itself up off of the ground. There is no air to breathe because it's all been sucked in underneath its wings to ride that lift. So you're kind of like that moment as it picks itself, and then it shoves the air in a brush. You're going to hit by all around it, and then it goes. Now, when it glides, that's not necessarily a factor. It's just it's the takeoff that's truly the issue. This dragon's massive. Requires kind of a little bit of a run to get going, creates some ease, and then begins to cascade upwards. The wind continuing to hit you all. It is absolutely fucking cool. The only person here that's able to sustain is Tardan. You have no problems. But everyone, for you all, this has become real, that you will most likely freeze in a matter of minutes. Like literally freeze, not to mention receiving cold damage. So something has to be done. This dragon is not going to stop unless, Nereus, you figure out a way. This dragon is going.
Because of how massive it is, would the back of him count as an object that I could put a tiny hut on?
Yeah.
Bear? You want to not be a bear?
I'll drop the bear form now.
You could just
will.
hibernate. It'd be fun.
Throw up a... Oh yeah, I guess the bear probably would have been a... No, he's a cave bear. Right? So, yeah.
Doesn't work like that. I don't think it works like that.
You're not a polar bear. Yeah,
Plus,
I'll
I don't
throw up
think
a
I
tiny
can
hut.
maintain it long enough to benefit from the
Yeah.
prolonged.
Do you know how far this is? You may measure this out. You have literally over 200 miles on the back of this dragon to go to get to the island.
Yeah,
Maybe,
but
maybe he
has
flies
to
at
be
200
doing-
miles an hour. We don't know.
He's got to do at least. He's got to have at least an 80-foot fly speed, right?
Like
Hold on,
dragon
man.
teleport.
Oh, he's got to have like 120 to 160,
Probably like 200 feet.
right?
He just got powered up. He's ready.
He's Tresgol.
And he's undead, which means he probably never gets
Air Force
tired.
One.
Never gets tired. I like it.
So 80 feet every 6 seconds.
Well, you can
is-
double. You can dash, though.
Yeah, and he could dash.
Okay, so okay, let's call it 150 feet ish. Every 6 seconds is times
Doing the math.
10 is 1,500 feet a minute. Is
It's actually not very fast.
Well, he's probably faster than 80 feet per round. He's
Yeah, I was thinking like
15.
120 to 150.
1,500 foot a minute is just under 15 miles an hour.
Yeah, but let's say he can fly at 120. That's 240.
What do you mean
feet.
120? What, 120 feet per 6 seconds?
Yeah, so dash
No,
would be
240.
240. Yeah.
Okay, so 240
Takes
times 10.
this dragon roughly 3.5 minutes per mile.
Oh, then yeah, we're fine.
Wait a second. Say that again.
This takes this dragon
3.5 minutes.
3.5 minutes to fly a mile if it's moving
yeah,
as
that's
fast.
flying a little over
so-
17 miles per hour.
So it's like under 20 miles an hour. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
going to be
yeah.
brutal.
What? That's like
How
10
long?
hours. It's 200 miles.
You have about 230 miles to go.
Okay, so you know,
It's like a long day.
yeah.
Oh, I thought he said many moons. I was
Well, if he's gonna
nervous.
Jeez.
stop and if
He
he's gonna
did.
stop and eat and stuff, I mean,
Yeah, I said
It,
many
it does
moves.
sound like we're going north towards.
I mean,
the
it's
frost
pretty
giant
easy
first,
just
so we
chilling
can
on the
keep
back
frost
of a
giant.
dragon in a tiny hut. I mean, this is
You
traveling
don't.
in
Yeah,
style.
you don't know where exactly Tresgol is going. Tresgol might have like a complete different thing that they want
He's
to do
got an
right now.
itinerary.
yeah,
That's
like
fine,
an
we don't
itinerary.
care.
And you're just on the back, or
Let's
perhaps
stick with the dragon that
was-
likes us.
Maybe that was in reference to it wanting to feed, right? Maybe it's like, hey, I'm going to go feed here. I'm going to go find something to kill and eat and enjoy it for a moment, and then crest off. But it's difficult. It's difficult to tell. Also, it might not have a full relation as far as time, considering the fact that Tresgol has been imprisoned for literally 8 years. So, like, that might have something in relevance of its direction. It's pretty
This is the happiest Nereus has ever been in this campaign. So yeah, he's happy.
Not only are you not below the ground right now, but you are miles in the air. on the
Well, he'd
back
prefer
of
to
the
be in the
giant
water,
monster.
but you know, like the dragon is a suitable consolation prize.
Suitable concept. I
To
like
be fair, we could just let Nereus die without it being in the tiny hut, and we could all be rid of. I mean, just kidding.
Yeah,
I
I'm
feel like
sure
the
that
dragon
will
will
go
probably
well
just
for you
eat
guys
us.
once Nereus dies. I'm sure the dragon will totally not eat you.
Somebody else can take the stone. It's fine.
We don't know what happens when one of us dies to the stone. So you have to willingly give it up.
That seems like a reasonable experiment to
It's true. We are quite high.
I think we should kill Tard.
Then
For
you guys don't have a
posterity.
tiny hut.
For
But that's
Then
posterity.
you
that's
all die.
problematic. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
problematic at the moment.
Killing me kills all of you.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Keeping you alive kills our hearts.
don't. Yeah, let's not have that happen.
Or Ares is gonna come back and be like, WTF.
Yeah, Ares is
How did
having
your
no
party
idea
die?
what's happening right now. How'd you?
He stayed in the mouth.
Ares comes back, has all the stones. He is Captain Planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all
He
kind of-
then has to start giving them out to people.
He's a hero.
Be an entire session of him just finding all of our new characters to give them stones.
Okay. So at some point you're still in the clouds, you're still in the freezing temperatures, and then eventually the dragon descends. The dragon descends, you're kind of have to hold on even further, right, as it kind of crashes down. It maybe spots something in the mountains, and it goes directly towards what seems to be a very familiar creature, which is that Remorese type creature that has just almost emerged and then has consumed something. And it's taking that moment to fly down, given how it comes almost in a vertical drop. You're having to hang on for dear life. As it drops down, it then crashes its wings back with a flutter, grabs onto the creature, and then breathes its lightning directly into its face. Now, I don't need to roll damage at all. This creature cannot stack up remotely to the damage that Triskel can do. As it fires off its lightning breath, just breathes it upon the creature after grabbing it whole. It then lands fully down onto the ground, dropping the creature, lowering its head down, and begins to consume. As it begins to take large shreddings off of the creature, ripping apart its chitinous shell, and dives down into the actual meat of the creature. Now, as you know, this creature is superheated when exposed to the air, and it does not seem to care to Treskel. Treskel does not care about the fire damage its mouth is consuming, as well as its lids or anything. It's just continuing to eat upon it, feast onto its flesh. You all are on the back of the dragon, just observing, as the dragon is moving and shaking violently and consuming the creature. Now, based on your surroundings, it definitely seems like Tresgal is headed in the southwest direction. You have an idea that the mountains are becoming less in elevation and things are beginning to open up. There's far more kind of evergreen trees and thickets and whatnot, kind of vegetation that's able to grow, the oxygen levels that are permitted. So there's things that are happening here that are definitely telling you and signs. You just can't see much of anything because the snow is the wind is howling and the snow is absolutely insane. There's nothing that you have beyond the fact that things are just a little bit lower than they were before, you'd imagine, and it's been a number of hours. So Tresgal, after finishing and consuming the creature, is kind of lowers itself down and then just kind of puts its head down and just like stops moving for a brief moment. Just doesn't breathe or imitate its breath, and just stops on top of the creature's body where it emerged in that kind of granite stone that's been broken apart from the rock of the soil and the snow and the ice all around. It just kind of stops. And then this large belch just emanates from it. And it just closes the eyes, grumbles a little bit, and then seems to go to sleep.
Interesting.
Well, I'm
Ares,
going to
did the
take a
dragon
nap.
die?
It's sleeping.
Does a dead thing need to sleep?
Not
You
dead,
wasted
it's
time.
undead. It's probably happy to be free from its prison.
What, can you still enjoy naps after you die? That's what that we need to find out. That's fascinating.
I'm going to take a nap.
I'm gonna kill you first, and then we'll see. If you still enjoy the nap, well, we'd have to bring you back. Oh, never mind. I'm tapped.
You should take a nap too.
Everyone should take a nap.
When
I'll
those of
throw
you
up a
on-
fresh tiny hut in case he decides to,
Just take off.
Yes. But before that, given the proximity to kind of the north and kind of, being in the snow again, Tartan would take some time to focus on his stone to see if he feels any better connection than this empty void that he keeps getting. Hoping that maybe the egg survived.
Okay, make an intelligence saving throw. "19, begin to reach out, feeling brought back into the same space. There's no receiving end, no connection is made. It's just vacant.
Alright, we'll go ahead and let go again.
Okay.
So what do you think we're meant to do at Felden? I mean, aside from apparently dunk me so that I grow my arm back, what,
Wasn't it a magic school? I'm sure there's all sorts of things that we can learn there. Who knows? Maybe there's another dragon for Tresgol to eat.
or befriend? Might as well build an army of them if you're going to have one. Not like parking gets any harder with 5 of them.
Do dragons like to share? I don't know if Tresgol would share with another dragon, though.
It doesn't
I'm
have to
sure
share
it could
eggs.
serve him. He is Tresgol the Conqueror after all, the leader.
You've got to come up with a better name for him.
I mean, if we're renaming people Tartan, yours could use a lot of work. It just leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
No matter what you call me, it's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth.
I don't know. Idiot doesn't bother me as much.
It's a bit like the salt of seasonings there.
You know,
For common. Lacks flair.
hopefully you're not just outside the tiny hut when we fly again. Just-
Your threats are empty and adorable.
I can think of worse ways to die than being eaten by your dragon because you die. I think we'll be okay.
Can you cast 2 tiny huts? It sounds like you 2 might need a property.
So we're all just taking a nap now, right?
Seems like. Okay. So, without any other dialogue, it looks like you all want to commit, so you all can take a long rest.
Roll for initiative as there's a random encounter. That'd be pretty funny if we get attacked and like we're fighting and then the dragon just wakes up is like
Yeah, I don't
If
know
we were
if in
attacked
this
by something
situation,
scary enough.
any random encounter that I can send at you would be any threat. I mean, unless it's another dragon, then I can see it being a threat.
yeah, but then we can't really do
It's the
anything.
ring,
Exactly,
so-
exactly. There's really no random encounter I can send at you because Trezgal is just gonna kill it. It's so.
Damodar shows up. Like, oh,
Yeah,
great.
Tardan kissed the coin while everyone else was asleep. Hey, Tambadar, was this what you were looking for? Can you kill it now? I feel like that would end very poorly for me, though.
Wasn't that ghostly wizard gave you that staff? Wasn't he from the Elven Blessed?
That ghost, maybe. You know,
I
it's a
remember
much
thinking-
worse school than the Wizard's Keep, or I would have gone there.
I remember thinking their story seemed eerily similar to the Isle of Torment. Obviously a different place, but it seemed like they were maybe tampering with similar things.
After we go to the Isle of Blessed, Sir Dougal, we can go to that desert or whatever that you need to go to, right?
Desert.
The desert?
You're muted.
Swamp.
Oh, yeah, that's rather close.
Yeah, we're actually rather close. He just needs to go to the marshes.
Probably above it, honestly. You look down.
Do you remember what the name of that dragon was?
Grugash.
We should find out what Trescal thinks about him.
I have a feeling I know what Trescal thinks of it.
He's fucking disgusting. Voice
Yep,
erupts as
that
the dragon
was it.
turns its head.
Would you like to eat him then?
No, I cannot. We will be avoiding the marshes from Valen. Rugash cannot be dealt a mortal blow. Should not be spotted flying overhead. We will stay to the southern Frosthorn, working through the mountains, and then we will fly over open water, using the clouds as cover and the wind. Strength. Rugash is not a dragon that I know very much besides fighting above the second tower of the Wizard's Keep. They are sadistic and quite unstable. There is no ancestor to Grugash that my forebear or any of my other ancestors have spoken of. In fact, Grugash quite literally appeared in Arthuria. Head turns, lowers itself, and closes the eye again.
Do you think Grugash is like you, Sir Dougal? And is from another plane? Another
Which
realm?
ones they can turn into a bear?
I mean, that's an interesting thought. I don't know. I guess I had imagined it. I haven't been imagining him it like a creature. Obviously, he is one. It helps me, I think, to maintain him as a thing to be destroyed, so that I don't struggle with the horror of my orders, if that makes sense. I don't know if it does.
Well,
Sometimes I'm asked to do terrible things, and I recognize that they can be terrible, but because I believe them to be in the service of a greater good, I commit myself to their accomplishing. It helps me, I think, to imagine it as a thing rather than a who. Not sure I've spent much time imagining it as a who.
well, isn't your mission to reverse whatever help it happened to that congruence? Or did I misunderstand you when
It
you
is.
arrived?
It is. I'm not sure that it is. Right. I don't. Yeah. Right. My mission is to restore the imbalance that exists, whether that's as a result of Grugash or not. I happen to think it is. I happen to believe it is. I was given that intelligence by a mysterious figure, but my queen gave me a clear mission, which was to restore the balance of the redwoods. Wasn't always that terrible place. If we get there and it turns out that it's not the result of a dragon, I'd be happy to excise the wound of some other poison that's festering in it. But for now, the only target I have is Grugash.
Well, and Nereus can correct me if I'm wrong, and he will, I'm sure.
You're wrong.
Usually understanding the who behind the magic helps you to reverse their effects.
Oh, that's interesting. I was just going to try death.
I mean, that is a step.
As you can
Right.
see with Trezgol, death is not the end. Especially when magic is involved.
I'm the wrong guy. I'm the wrong rabbit.
Oh no.
You got the wrong guy.
I broke Dougal. No.
I gotta tell you, you have the wrong rabbit if you're talking to me about the intricacies of the arcane arts. I am a blunt instrument. I am here to like a scalpel.
That's actually a rather
Those
sharp
are-
instrument to be.
I appreciate
precise.
I appreciate my metaphor fell apart. I also happen to not be an orator. What I mean to say is that's a complicated question or a complicated thought you just communicated, and Not only is it outside of my parameters, I'm pretty sure it's outside of my comprehension.
Well,
You mentioned you were sent here by a queen. Who's this queen that you work for?
The queen, my queen, the Fey Queen, Titania is her name. She is. I'm not sure she's a god. Let's call her an archfey for now. If that means anything to you.
Sure.
She is the ruler of the Fey realm, and she's the leader of my court.
That's,
And I'm pretty sure she's immortal.
That's handy.
she's
Don't know if
immortal, but
that's a great quality for a ruler to have, though.
It is
problematic.
interesting. I've thought about this before. Anyway, it was an errand that she trusted to me, but before leaving, meaning my realm, to come here, I was visited by a mysterious figure. I hadn't seen their face or recognized their voice. And I haven't seen their likeness since. And they gave me the name.
The name
What?
Grugash.
Grugash. They gave me the name Grugash.
is that all they said was Grugash? Did they give you any other words?
No. Well, yes. They gave me a few other words, but not many of consequence.
Are you sure? As somebody that uses words to get what he wants, I can tell you that word choice is quite particular 9 times out of 10.
Quote unquote, before Sir Dougal could ask more questions. So, Sir Dougal, you could not ask your questions.
Yeah, I didn't. Wasn't much of a conversation. I'm saying he. I don't even know if it was a he. It could have been anyone. They, let's say that, told me that it would be. He told me that my mission would be completed only by. Yes, you're right. There was a particular wording. What did he say? Ridding the marsh. I don't know that means killing. Now that you make me think about it, but
Or like a forceful relocation.
Perhaps sending him back to wherever he came from removes his corruption, whereas killing him would allow it to fester and rot, as with a fungus.
What if you just made friends with it like Nereus and flew it away? You would be ridding the marsh of it.
right. That's a very interesting interpretation. I can tell you it's not mine. Meaning, it's not my interpretation, but I hear your wheels turning, and I can appreciate that. My wheels have been turning ever since, but in terms of progress, it helps me to stay narrowly focused on simplest approach, which is extermination.
Have you ever stepped on a mushroom, Sir Dougal?
Is that a euphemism?
No, but it is a metaphor.
I try not to.
Okay, because when you step on a mushroom,
Sure I
its
have.
spores spread. So while you exterminated one, you could.
Are you
just
trying to
spread it.
suggest? Are you trying to suggest that if I cut a black dragon in half, millions of little black dragons will fly out of it?
I'm just saying it may not reverse what you need to reverse. So I'm
That
just
would
trying
be
to get you to keep an open mind.
I do think it is worth taking note that he is apparently not from here. That makes him possibly unique
Mhm.
among all the dragons that we are dealing with. Whatever that means, who knows? But it is important to bear in mind, I think.
Frankly, I'm not even really confident that he's my target, as long as we're talking about it.
So, wait, but didn't you just say?
The mission I
Maybe
was
there's
given from my
something
queen
behind the
was
trick.
not the same as the intelligence I received from a figure I cannot identify or speak to again.
It could very well be that whoever this person was simply using your great desire to fulfill your mission to make you into a weapon to
Absolutely.
suit their own ends.
I have to consider that that is a possibility. And that my pursuance of Grugash will actually deter my queen's mission, my queen's charge. You're absolutely right. I can't know. I don't
I
know.
suspect you won't be able to do much in the marshes without encountering or dealing with Grugash in some fashion. What that means could be up for interpretation, but I doubt you'll be able to avoid it and accomplish your mission.
Unfortunately, I think a decision will have to be made after a certain amount of first-hand intelligence is gathered.
I'm sure Nereus will appreciate us not swinging swords first and rushing headlong into more things. Anyway,
You can get yourself killed if you like. Truskull and I won't miss you.
So at this point, we can go through with the night, right? Resting up, setting yourselves at the back of the Tresgall, getting your bedrolls out, right? Trying to make it comfortable as possible on the surface. Or you could always hop off and climb down, right? Sleep on the snow. I mean, there's really good choices here. So, but I'm gonna advance the time. Guess onto the next day. And then I'm going to continue the narration as we kind of go into really a fast travel mode. As I've stated previously, is when we go through these moments, I usually just narrate until we reach the desired destination and kind of go through. In that time frame, if there's things that you want to kind of teach yourself and do, you can. However, because this is not considered a normal mount, and you aren't in any realm to be able to focus on doing certain things while you're riding this dragon, you can't actually do any sort of skill training proficiencies and other things because you have to keep your mind to the task of riding the dragon. Now, as we begin to fly through, aimed in the direction of southwest, you're again stopping every periodically as Tresgall feasts down on another creature. It could be a dire bear, right? A cave bear could be a dire wolf. Pack of them kind of comes downwards, breathes out its breath, torching up the trees inside of the foliage and then crashing through them, and then begins to consume them. It becomes apparent to you all is that this dragon does not give a flying fuck about destroying nature or anything revolved around the earth. When it lands, it does not care how much damage it does to the ground. It does not care about toppling like a forest, right? It just goes through and thrashes through things. That's something that is difficult to wrap your heads around, is that this dragon uses the world, or at least right now in this mountain range, as its play yard. Right? It's a playground for this thing. It takes off, again, creates more destruction, rinse and repeat. Okay? So as we come to kind of near the evening-ish, getting into the twilight kind of range, we now are going to transition to outside of the mountain range, and we have left the southern frost hordes. I'm going to put us onto a map here. Let's see, it's going to be a little bit challenging to load, but we think we're going to be able to do it. I'm going to transition our wind effect.
Look out for those guys behind us.
Yeah, we got some soldiers hanging out.
I thought those were the dead badgers at first.
Yeah, so this map is not necessarily for this specific sequence. So there might be
But
some
all your
rogue-
players don't ride Trezgal out to the Blessed Isle?
There might be some rogue soldiers. This is a huge map, and I can't really see the tokens very well. So
This is the void.
I don't think there's any more. I'm trying to look. Let's see any.
I
It was just
giving you a
fun. It was
hard
just
time.
funny though. Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure these aren't supposed to be here unless we're gonna have a random encounter with three guys that are like, yeah, it's a dragon, kill it. Like, all right, well, you're dead.
They were damned our juniors.
This is my generic open water map, but I use it for a couple different things. So, okay. So you're in the air currently, high above the water line, and what you can see is really just the scape of clouds. And then when you look down, right, if you come to the edge of the dragon, you can see that you're leaving the southern Frosthorn mountain range. You're headed in the direction, in fact, over what is marked on the map as like the Kraken's Den, right? And that's kind of, you're going out to that peninsula where the mountain range actually extends into the water, filled with the icebergs and other sorts of kind of ice shelves and things. And this is oh so familiar to many. I was going to say many of you, but in fact, it's only a handful. But hey, we'll keep on going. As you can see, that this is almost where it happened, right? The very beginning of our campaign, when the Striker and the Wrecker were attacked. When you're heading, you can see that the whole scape of the Forgotten Sea is to the north, and then you have open water in the direction of the south, and you're aimed at where there's a landmass that extends off of the western coastline for many, many miles, escaping a large mouth of this open space at the land, which you mark as Cedric Bay. Now, you're getting all of this because the planet is actually not that large, right? The world here of Antares is actually like the size of Venus, and so the cusp of the actual Earth, where it comes downwards, right? You can't see anymore, right? Because you're losing that, is not necessarily as impactful as you would be in real life, because the world is just smaller. So you can see more things. That just allows, if you're higher up, right? Now, if you're lower down, you're still going to have the same effect, even more so because of how it's curved. But when you're higher up, you actually can see significantly. Okay? So you're having an idea of where you're headed, right? It's exactly what Trezgal said. Flying into the clouds now, you're going to be, world is flat. You begin to head in the direction of south, right, as you're kind of turning. But Trezgal makes a remark after coming across this space, which is really interesting. It's almost like the dragon chuckles a little bit. The Den of Carla. It just kind of echoes that out from its voice, as it said a name in the den of something in that name. And then just kind of looks down in the direction of the water inside of this large kind of gullet, or it's very, very much like a strait in a way, right? It's kind of marked in geography just like a strait, because it's a body of water within between land masses, but it's not necessarily a lake, right? Because there's throughways. And it turns in the direction of the water. It's far many miles down now. It just kind of looks and then has that remark and then continues in its flight pattern. I do want to state, in addition to this, you're probably getting kind of your first sight of how large the marshes of the Veiling are. The entire forest there is massive. It's many, many, many miles in its width and length. And the forest itself is really tall. It has a massive canopy that's covered in this intense and dense fog, and that sits over the entire thing. So you can't actually see into it or see what type of trees are in there. You just know that the tree canopy is massive and the fog overlays that. It seems to kind of roll and have this whole fluidity to it, which is different than the actual climate of the clouds above it and the weather that's impacting the region. And so you're just having that little bit of a kind of a glance. Now, as we transition, you're getting hit by the fragments of snow, and then eventually you have the soft and subtle rain from some of the clouds that are still higher up than Treskal. And noting that the rain itself is falling underneath Treskal, because Treskal is high up into the air at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and start kind of a rain effect here, simulate, and you're left of your own devices. You're coming into what is going to be looking like the second night, in that this dragon took a very long and tremendous route to feast, and it took a long part of the day. You don't have much distance to go in this range to get to the Isle, and you might be actually getting there in the night, considering how quickly this thing moves. Or it might stop, find something it sees in the ocean, want to take a plummet down with the yawl at its back, but now it seems to be very
Decides
high.
to fight the Kraken.
Yeah, fight the Kraken. It seems to be very high in its altitude, so that would be very strange for the dragon at this point to dive down, because before it was quite close to the mountains.
Isn't this much better than being underground?
Bit chilly, honestly. Didn't some of you were on boats or something, weren't you? Was this had a bit of a Todd was telling me something about a bit of a cock up you had on the ocean.
Wasn't a cock up. There was a kraken and a dragon.
Well, that certainly doesn't sound like something going according to plan. Unless you were hunting a dragon and a kraken, that doesn't seem wise.
I think they were hunting us.
I mean, if you ever wanted to take vengeance, now would be the time, I think.
Okay. So without anything to do, you can always kind of you can get a rest in for sure. Not much opportunity to do that at the present moment. It's not like you're on even ground. The dragon is fluidity. There's movement, and so considering that this dragon is probably going to reach this destination in less than 6 hours in its flight pattern, that you might not need to rest tonight. You might have to stay awake to get to your destination. So, without further ado, I'm going to actually transition off of this map unless there's anything you would like to do in terms of roleplay or actions your character would want to do to reach your destination. All good?
Nothing
Okay.
here.
All right. I'm going to put us back onto this map. So, you begin to descend, and as that happens, the rain is actually changing to very harsh conditions. The rain is beginning to pour down all around you. I want a different rain. Let's see if I can change that. There you go. And you're having to hang on to the dragon. The clouds, the cackling of lightning and thunder around it. This dragon doesn't give a shit about that. It's flying directly through as it's striking around. It's kind of moving and zigzagging and shaking its body at this point as we descend in many miles downwards. So the dragon's trying to make it as casual as possible, but the wind buffeting these other factors now showcasing that nature does indeed impact this dragon in its flight. I need you all to make athletic or acrobatic checks as you hang on to the dragon as it makes its descent. I pinged the street view. No, it still says you have rage on, so it gives you the advantage. It's okay. It's 17s regardless. And then, Adam, if you're privately rolling, I don't see it. Just FYI.
Oh, yeah. I was on private earlier. I forgot to put it back.
Yeah, just so you know.
Yeah,
so just tell
I
me what.
rolled
Just tell me what you
a
rolled.
7.
A 7? That's everything added?
It's acrobatics. Yeah, he's not proficient. And
Oh no! So as we're going along, Athos, right? So we're making the zigzag Athos. You begin to lose your control. You're slipping. You're falling off the scales, and then you're almost kind of coming and rolling off the side. As that happens, a lightning kind of strikes through the air, kind of creating this large and vibrant effect in the space. And you all can see that Athos is no longer around you. Athos, you're kind of clung to the side of the dragon's neck as you're kind of holding on. What are the rest of you doing?
Does he have a backpack or anything?
You're muted, Dougal, if you're talking.
Oh.
I'm gonna wild shape into a spider.
Okay. A regular spider or a giant
tiny
spider?
one.
Tiny
Giant.
one? A giant one? Okay.
Brown recluse.
And we're going to spew. We're gonna spew some web at him to try and like
So
glom him onto the dragon.
Sure. So you shape into the spider. You're kind of looking in the direction. Again, you can see that Athos has disappeared. You have an idea that Athos went off the side. You're kind of moving as a spider, coming up to the edge, and then you go off to shoot a web as you see them kind of clung to the edge, barely hanging on. Fire off a web. Go ahead and make it just a flat D20 roll for me. I know what the modifiers are. 15 on the roll, fantastic. So eventually, shooting off the web, you do begin to kind of web up Athos and kind of grabbing something for you now to hold on to that's less at the side of the dragon. Begin to pull yourselves up with the aid of the spider, kind of pulling itself back. Eventually, you getting in position, and then as that spider, you might create more webbing around, right, for more places to hold and to hang on to. And now we're going to go ahead and transition as the dragon continues its flutter down and lands.
This is a problematic method of transportation.
It's been fine for me.
And you're not going to have vision for just a second, so just bear with me. You need to move your tokens where it's not in range of the other tokens, particularly the dragon.
The tokens.
There we go. Okay.
It's almost as if a voice in my head said there were things on this map.
Okay. So
Spidey sense is tingling.
as you come off, I'm actually going to move you just a little bit, give you more positioning of where you're kind of coming in at. The dragon is your backside. So the dragon is going to kind of come around what appears to be this large and massive tower that is covered in this bronze and black metal panel. It's been kind of almost like welded on in certain places and stacked onto each other very neatly. Now, the tower does not have any sort of windows that you're able to observe as the dragon's kind of coming in a circular, kind of swooping pattern, as if it's kind of trying to figure out like a landing area to come downwards at this particular place. What you're able to note is that the tower, albeit large and tall, doesn't have a very kind of particular finish on the top end. If I could relate it, there's multiple different almost like lightning rods that protrude out at various intervals on the top of the tower, and then a singular lightning rod at the center. And other than that, it's flat with the same metal paneling. Strikes of lightning actually are hitting the tower, and upon that, they begin to strike down onto one, then strike into the series, and then those kind of begin to kind of arc around until it's almost like diminished. When it hits the center of it, that's going to kind of spiderweb out to the other ones, and then they do the similar fashion, and then diminishes. Might be a way to protect the tower from lightning or something. When that happens, you notice that there are runes that are actually welded, kind of engraved welds, right? Or sorry, not engraved welds, but welds that protrude from the metal paneling, and they form into these runes that are written almost like a gnomish, relating those to perhaps abjuration, like protection magic, as like a shield vibrates with this chroma like lighting around the tower. It's very interesting, especially because this tower is amongst the ruins of something that was actually a community, almost rivals the size of a small city. So there's like walls of this lighter kind of granite, almost like sandstone, even to dark granite if it's collected off the foothills of the Isle, and those form in sections that are ranging, right, depending on the destruction. Around there are brambles of kind of low shrubberies to high shrubberies, and they are beautiful and different kind of flowers, as well as different fruits and things that they bear. That this place doesn't seem to be ravaged by seasons. It seems to be absent of that, and you've never seen this flora anywhere, especially the low, tiny flowers that range from kind of small to medium size. The grasses grow really tall and range as well. They also have a unique 3-leaf pattern to them, so they come up in one, and then they split into 3, and then those split into 3, which is really interesting. And they seem to grow and just have a whole wildness to them in this particular regard. Now, the reason why I moved you is because some of the walls are actually hindering your vision, so I wanted you to get you to like the forefront of where the tower is. So all that scenery is around you. You've also noted that there is a dock that once was on the northern side of the Isle, which was attached to the small city, as Felgrim is on the north side of the Isle. That dock seems to be destroyed, lost in time. The only thing there are pillars of kind of solid stone that the pylons anchored onto, as well as the plank of the bridges. So what you can observe as the dragon comes through and crashes, that the dragon, again, literally doesn't give a fuck. So as that happens, a lot of what you are blocking your sight lines here are destroyed. So I'm actually going to clear in space some of these walls because the dragon has actually destroyed them upon coming downwards and cripples them. So this is going to open up your sight lines based on where the dragon's location is. As that kind of comes downwards and smashes them into the ground, a large thunderous quake, the dragon then kind of lowers its neck and turns it to the side, drops its shoulder down, and drops you in your current location. So as you're looking around based on the ground scenarios, you throw out your light, right? Casting light now, you see 2 large statues in front of you. They form on either side of a protrusion of the tower with a 10-foot ceiling height and kind of a concave space, the same welded material, and a very intricate black metal vault-like door. The single handprint sits at its center. It's circular in its nature, and it's also not very large. In fact, you imagine that if you were a fairly tall, medium-sized humanoid, you would have difficulty going through this door. It's plenty wide, but it's just not tall. The statues are either side are roughly 11 to 12 feet in height. They resemble gnomish wizards of some kind. They have these beautiful, elegant robes that are kind of wave-shaped at the bottom of them. They're actually holding out what appear to be like baskets. I don't have assets to showcase every statue in my existing subscription, but they're holding out baskets in their hands, and in the baskets you're noting that they're kind of these solid stone, right? They're still stone, right? But they show that weaving of what a basket would be. So it's very elegant, beautiful work. They're not white marble per se, but they're like a granite that's been shown down into a white marble. The one thing that catches all of your eyes on the statues is that they have seen not only the weathering of time, right, the ravages of time, but they are hit by numerous, or once hit by numerous spells. They're actually different spaces that are kind of purplish or green with the same magical essence of the spell, and holes even, like actually someone had fired something through them and punctured like a hole in them. Bits and pieces are breaked off of them. And so it's like something has happened here. Now you're on a main path, and you can see the rock almost interwoven with the grass, so the grass getting thinner as it works itself to the tower in a way. But behind you is a very large patch of grass that grows, and it seems to grow over the top of numerous bodies. The skeletons of these bodies remain, in addition the armaments, such as long swords, battle axes, glaives, great swords, and halberds, all of which are fine masterwork quality, and they have shields as well littering in them. The armor of them, in addition, is in there as well. Plate armor, in fact, or breastplate. So there's things and pieces in there that are of high quality. Now, based on with your light spell, it's giving you that advantage here to get the sight and the vision in. Some of you can clearly see that the clothing of the armor has been ate away, right? There's no real remnants of cloth or other sorts of leathers. That has all been done. So if you were to reclaim some of this armor, you would have to kind of fit it and work it to be able to be worn, based on the fact that there's nothing to hold it on together, right? That's been decomposed over a large period. So you're left of your own devices. Tresgall is there, kind of pulling itself onto its haunches and hind legs, and just is now looking and scanning around, smelling the air. As the lightning strikes down, it kind of raises its talons up into the air and then begins to breathe outwards, and the lightning like strikes down into its talon and then kind of takes that a little bit and just kind of moves and goes, "Oh, it's nice." Kind of chuckles to itself.
So, Athos, your
Yes.
armor seemed to have been destroyed by
It's a bit
the-
disheveled, yeah.
Suppose we can find. I don't even know what. Actually, I'm just going to throw my backpack down. And I am going to pull out some studded leather armor and pass it to you. Since I never sold that.
Okay.
He is not on my character to send stuff to. What?
You can't see me.
I can only send to Dougal and Nereus for some reason.
Let me see. You trying to send your set of leather to him?
Yeah.
Yep, that's correct. All right, give me 1 second. Monk. All right, it's in your inventory, and I'll remove it from yours, Charlie.
Thank you.
That might help you a little bit. I would like to look for the closest shield.
Okay. You kind of dig around. You find in their close shield. Seems to be decent. Kind of has that very similar pattern of a teardrop shield, right? And then on it, it's what you're looking. It has a lot of like white and red painting that seems to be kind of marred and distorted. Has a little bit of gold etching as well towards the sides of it, so it seems to be of really nice quality. But again, the leathers and the straps that would otherwise hold it to your arm are gone. They've been decomposed over time.
I think Athos would be interested in trying to figure out, based on maybe some of the markings on the armor, or things like who these people were, or
Okay.
how long ago this happened.
Go and roll a history check.
Well, I'm rolling
13.
today.
So the other thing you can roll is investigation if you're looking for like the age to help you with your history check. You can try to roll investigation as well to be like, okay, it's this old or like this decomposed, right? So the 26 is going to tell you that this has been in a decomposition state or been in the ground here and unmoved for roughly over 260 years. So this shield has been here over 260 years. However, there's something that's odd. In fact, that the deterioration of this at certain parts has actually been increased. In fact, the time of decomposition should be at least 3 times that amount upon this particular shield. but something. Right. So what you're getting from the investigation is that time is not working in the same way as it does in the main. Could it be that? Could it be moving faster here? Could it be moving slower here? Could specific things be impacted by time differently? Right. So that's kind of going through your mind at that moment. Now your history check is going to tell you that the coloration of this are the Talthars. This is something that the Talthars colorations on their shields, a lot of the paladins and soldiers of the Talthars under King O'Hearn Talthar used to wear. So that is immediately able to tell you that. In relation to an event and period in history, even with the 13, it would tell you that that is the age of the Great Purge.
Right, so these were the foot soldiers come to slay all the magic users. Okay, that's pleasant. I think as he's searching through, he would look for some fine examples of a breastplate and try and collect pieces to maybe look to repair his, or to use pieces of his to repair this, into something fashionable later.
Okay.
That also
so
cut up that studded leather.
Okay, so basically both of you kind of collecting a ruined shield and a ruined breastplate at this point to try to see.
I have 2 ruined breastplates.
Yeah, to see if we can work on that. It's definitely something we'll have to do on downtime, where it will take a little bit of stuff to do that, but you're able to collect that. I'm not going to put anything into your inventory. I'm just going to make a note of it on my notes.
Well, at least this would suggest that either they weren't successful or they paid a very heavy cost for their endeavor.
Didn't we see some sort of shielding or something around that? Maybe they touched the door, because I don't see any bodies near the door.
Good point. I will say time appears to be moving in strange ways here, so we could be in great danger, or at least in a very sticky situation, much faster than we realize. We may leave this place and find Damodar's already conquered the entire continent. Or that only 5 minutes have passed. Well, it's hard to say. Or we'll just all get very old.
I'm gonna climb this statue. See what I can't see from a higher vantage.
Look around and kind of staring off into the darkness. Again, we're in the dead of night, so you're not seeing much anything besides shadows and the pouring rain. You can get the idea that the isle is decent in size and does not have a whole lot of elevation to it. In the center, there's foothills that are blocking the shadows, and you can see that there is other things that might work with them. But again, you're going off of really shadows in the dead of night, and there's really no moon that's peeking through the overcast of the rain clouds.
Athos will, while that's going on, he'll start examining the door, looking to see if it's locked, see if it seems magically protected, trapped.
So the only thing you can see is that the door itself is embedded into the bronze and metal plating. It seems to be like, again, a vault door in some way. It's the best way that I can interpret it, and the fact of how it's anchored in and some of the inner workings. It's circular in its nature, and there is a handprint that's directly at its center lower end, and the hand itself is the size of a small humanoid. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
The rolls, man.
17. From what you can tell, there is no handle to this door, and given from what you've seen of material compositions and other whatnot, there must be either a magical or mechanical method opening this door that does not involve a handle. Beyond that, it does not seem to be trapped. There's no tripwiring or anything kind of covering it. You're looking through the grass underneath, right? Maybe shifting through. Is there anything underneath here? There's no runes. There's no tripwire. There's no plates, your pressure plates. So nothing is telling you that this is trapped in any way.
Well, it appears the easiest way to get in here is to have the hand of a gnome. I don't suppose we have any spare ones. Although I imagine it would probably need to be connected to some sort of magic. That staff might be a touch if it does come from here. Could be helpful.
I'm going to start climbing the wall that the door is on.
Tresgar lowers the head. Nereus,
Yes, Driscoll the Conqueror.
how long will you be here?
Unclear. Are you hungry again?
No.
If you want to explore the Isle, feel free. I can let you know when we're done, if that's better.
I do hope you return soon.
Pulls itself back.
If you'd like to try and breaking this door down, that might help.
A bit worried that it might break half the building.
This
Mm-hmm.
tower stands in the edge of time. Everything is weathered but this. I destroy much, and I enjoy it. But there is something as to why this tower has no rot or rust. And I don't feel like I want to get involved with that. Looks in the direction of Daenerys. I have many things I need to do. I may not be here when you get back. I suggest you hurry.
Right, well,
Sky's self, what are you turning into?
I'm gonna try to. I mean, obviously, I can't go all the way down to a gnome, but I want to shrink my hand as small as possible to try to fit it in there.
He's just gonna gimp hand himself. You know?
We're
Give
pulling,
hand
we're
myself.
pulling like a Deadpool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much.
little
Just
baby
The baby head. Okay. What do you do?
I just want to push into it and then I don't know, see if it does anything, if it feels like it goes in at all, or
Okay, so you put your hand into the groove, and upon that, you hear kind of like almost like a ding ding sound, and then there are panels that begin to open at every sort of diagonal space of a square. If it's turned, they actually begin to pull the door apart, and as it begins to pull apart, those metallic panels, they actually fit into the grooves independently, revealing the entire space is open with no door actually swinging up or towards you or inside. Now, flanked inside of this entry or atrium, if you will, as you come in, are these bronze statues holding glass orbs, and they're dancing with the colorations of differing light. The statues, now that you're able to observe them in space, are about 23 feet tall, which is rather strange because on the outside the space isn't nearly that large before entering into the tower. So now there are separations based on what you're seeing outside and in. The ceiling height of the corridor is 7 feet above that, so roughly 30 feet. And this is going to push all the way as you stare in the direction of what you can barely see with the dim light plus other things is something that is in the center of the tower.
oh,
The bronze statues are... What's the word I should use? The bronze statues are like, kind of like plain, half-robed figures. So they have a robe that comes through the side and then downwards. They are gnomes. They look like gnomes in the way that they're kind of carved and colored. And they each have a different emblem upon their chest. And as that emblem kind of goes through, you're noting that it might be something relevant to maybe a school that they taught here, like an actual wizarding school or like, you know, type of magic. Or it could be maybe they're like instructor or professor, and they're just noted with some sort of family symbol upon. And they all differ, and they're all different. There's just no names that are put upon them.
I'm going in.
That was easier than I thought it was going to be.
I was just about to say that's it's more welcoming than anything has been in quite some time.
Okay.
I would
As you
say
walk
check
in, the door
carefully.
shuts behind you. As it does, it folds in on itself in those panels, revealing no handle for no place for a hand and no handle.
Driscoll, can you still hear me?
Nothing comes to you.
Tardan's done it again.
I never said you had to come in.
You wouldn't stop whining if I didn't, I'm sure.
I'm sure you'll be about as useful in here as you were in the White Dragon fight.
Who do you think took down that barrier?
So, coming into space here, you can see that the floor is kind of cobbled in this black and light granite. It seems to have a stairwell. It sits to the left and ascends as it spirals around the tower's inner wall, disappearing when it ascends past 50 feet, roughly. I'll give you that information. You can't really see it too much with your dark vision and light. So that's that staircase. It kind of spirals and wraps and then disappears, most likely to the tower's second floor. Now, what you're able to get is that the stairwell is anchored into that inner wall of the tower, right? So there's kind of an outer space that you're able to see. And then with your light spell here, Nereus, you can also understand that the walls have sustained, this interior wall has sustained damage. There's some of the metal paneling and solid kind of metal that they used in construction of this tower. There's multiple different punctures of weapons and axes and other things that have went through, and breakage of some of these circular like doors with the same small handprint in the middle of them, which are mimicking the entry of the tower. Those doors are like broken a little bit, right? So maybe some of the things are kind of smashed inwards or dented, and so your light's like perceiving through that and get an idea of that. There's a space through those doors there that you can observe. Now, there are two doors that are to the west and to the east, which are here, and they are slightly larger than the four other ones that sit in kind of those diagonal corners. And so they kind of have a little bit of a difference in the fact that they're more wide and slightly taller. At the center point, right, which I said is something very interesting indeed. It's kind of like, the best way that I can describe this is it's a well, okay? But it is 3.5 feet of this light kind of sandstone brick wall and surrounds it in these four gnomish statues that are hooded kind of garment figures that each have different colorations of face, like a beard maybe comes down showing either weathered male. There might be kind of a female with more of kind of these immaculate little like almost like perfume that they attempt or makeup they attempted to put onto the statue in a way. And those are all independent figures, and they each have kind of a stable family name centered on their chests. And based on that information of what you're getting is that these might be very notable figures in the construction of this tower. Put on the forefront, they stand extremely tall, 25 feet, and they all kind of bend down with like cup-like hands in the direction of the water, as if they're kind of greeting it or wanting it. Now, they also sustain damage. You can see magical spells that have destroyed some of the shoulders. They've gone through the center chest, and there's just large amounts of destruction on all four. One thing that would catch the eyes of Athos, being a very investigative person with high perception, is that there is no cobwebs or dust in this space. So as you're stepping in, you imagine a place like this that's been kind of lost in time in a way, that there would be dust and debris and other things that would have accumulated. But there's nothing. It's all pristine. The water is very dark and it's murky, as if it's pigmented black. But there's nothing, if it's like an oil, it's still water.
Interesting. Water so dark in a place so removed from time.
What was that? What were you looking for? Something, Nine Realms, some.
It was indeed a well of the Nine Realms. This would appear to be a well. I don't know that I trust it. he will gather some of the water and sort of investigate it, try to sniff it, observe clarity, look for, see if it seems stagnant or poison or off and not water in some way.
Okay, make an investigation check.
Now
Now,
one
kind of
incoming.
diving over and looking, you can see at the water line, which is a little bit lower than that 3.5 feet half wall. So you're really having to bend down and get at the water. You can see that there's a pattern that's written in Gnomish that wraps around in the inside of the wall in the water line there. You don't particularly speak Gnomish, so it's not helping you out with what that might be. 19 investigation, begin to cup the water, smelling it, looking. Does not seem to have any sort of foul, odorous smell like sulfuric chlorine, right? Kind of like a bleach, or any sort of like phosphorus type sense to it, so no poisons. And then in addition to it, it feels like water. So there's something that is pigmenting this in some way. It's unclear to you.
Wanda, is that a pile of books over there? Are they trying to burn them?
The books are indeed burned, so there are a large pile of books. They're all burned at the present moment, and it's just kind of tattering of their pages that are loosely there inside of the embers.
I suspect someone may have done something to try and foul this well if they were that determined to destroy everything in this place. I pity anyone who thinks their enemy is knowledge.
Does the water look like it's moving at all? Like there may be a current or anything?
No, it looks perfectly still.
Well, let's explore this place, and if I have to, I'll step into the well once we're done.
I mean, if we're gonna do that, I'll just drink some of it. Kind of thirsty.
And you purify water?
No, but I seem to have absorbed where we were last, if you don't recall.
Well, if it's not tainted, the water's kind of important. We don't want to disintegrate it.
So, Sir Dougal and Athos, with your passives here in your spider form, here, up here, and I'm going to shift click it so you understand, there's actually something etched into the granite, as well as a circular bronze plate that sits in the center of that rune etched engraving, whatever it is in the stone. Now, opening the door here, Athos, all you do is you put your hand, similar fashion to the previous door, put your hand on it, and again, it opens up, going into the grooves of the metal of the interior wall, and you get to see that there are multiple desks, chairs, and tables that have been broken apart, splintered fragments of wood that appears to have not any rot or weathering at all. The books in the center point here have been collected up and burned. Some of them are still existing, all written from the pages at first glance. They're all written in Gnomish, and they're scribbles. From what you can tell, based on the way they're wrote, they are notes, like someone went to a lecture.
I'm going to start clicking in the hallway to try and attract somebody's attention.
Okay. Tardan, you open that door. Again, you just put your hand to it. It opens up. And from what you can tell, on the other side of this is a similar rune etched into the ground and a bronze-like plate that sits in the center.
I'm gonna step onto the plate.
Okay. Tardan, you step onto the plate. A green sphere begins to erupt around you in a bubble, and you are teleported in space as you appear on the other side. Similar fashion rune sits at the center of the space, and behind it on the wall, that is your backside, is a bronze circular plate that you might imagine you could press to be teleported back. There are 4 of these orbs giving off chromatic light. They begin to shine roughly white in some spaces of them upon you teleporting in. They're on bronze metal poles that protrude upright about 2 feet or so, and they begin to emerge this black lettering in that whiteness of space.
And the black lettering just looks like an enchantment on the orbs, kind of for the spell, or does it look like it's coming towards me?
It is written in Gnomish, and you do not speak that language.
Okay.
Maldor when you need him.
If only there was somebody here to talk to. I will press the plate to see if it takes me back.
Press the plate, green orb sphere begins to erupt around as you are teleported in space-time to the other side, where once you were.
Interesting. Athos, you got to see this.
Oh, what is it?
Where are you? Huh? There's a metal plate. If you go stand on it.
Why does this sound like the setup to a punchline?
It's a lot of fun. I promise.
This plate.
Yeah, that plate.
Okay, stand on the plate.
Stand on the plate, stepping with your foot. Green sphere begins to erupt around, and you are teleported in space. Similar description. The ceiling height in this room here is about 10 feet. Inside of that chamber before was about 20 feet. So different rangings of ceilings. It's unclear if in direction of the map, if this is really truly on the other side of the wall, or if this is in some
It could
pockets.
be anywhere.
It could be literally anywhere.
Right. And it's just an enclosed. There's no way in, no way out. It's just an enclosed room.
Correct.
Interesting. He would probably inspect the orbs, I guess, just to try to see if he could make any sense of what they were or what they were for.
Okay. So the orbs themselves standing again, the same description, about 2 feet or so. They have that blackish lettering that forms in the whiteness of space as that chroma begins to pull backwards. The lettering is gnomish as they write a phrase of some kind. You're able to understand that there is a question mark on the end of the phrase. But beyond that, there's nothing really to tell. They're made of this glass, it seems. They might have some magically enchanting or imbuement to them. That's all you can really get. You're looking for maybe false doors, right? Things. It's exactly the same as the walls of the inner and the outer. This metallic and bronze plates have been welded together.
This appears to be some sort of a test. I wonder if it was for the students. It was later on a hill. There was a plate or something that seemed like the way out.
Yeah, it's almost in the same design as the plate on the ground, but now it's on the actual wall of that metal. So you're able to press that circular, and then you are teleported back in space to the other side. As you came.
Yes, I think that was some sort of exam room or test of some sort. It seemed to be asking questions. Does anybody speak Gnomish?
Silence. Nobody.
Nobody speaks Gnomish.
Nobody.
So you're saying that we went to a Gnomish wizarding school and a tower and no one speaks Gnomish?
You should have kidnapped a bloody gnome.
We have thought about this before we went? Who knows? Tard, you come to the side, similar fashion to the other side. Goes from 50 to about 20, and then you have that plate at the center you can step on.
I'm going to step on it.
Step on it, you're teleported in space, exactly the same as the other side. And Gnomish begins to be written on the glass orbs as they front you in that whiteness of space.
Does it look like the same?
All I can
orb?
tell you is that there are different phrases on each one. Every single glass orb that you've observed in either of the chambers are completely different. They only end with a question mark, and they're all written in Gnomish.
Well, I guess I'll press, if there's a plate to go back, press it to go back.
Press it to go back. Desks, tables, chairs, all broken apart and smashed inside of that room.
I think we need to go upstairs. I don't think we're going to find much down here. Anything of interest has been destroyed except for those tests that you seem to lack the capacity to understand.
Sir Dougal continues to make a series of clicks with the mandibles in the direction of north.
Yes, Dougal,
Yes.
there are other plates. They all go to
Yeah.
different places, and if you don't
May-
speak Gnomish, they're not very useful.
May as well verify. Test but verify, or trust but verify.
Yeah.
I'll stand on the
push the
plate.
Just push the spider onto the plate.
Teleport in space, a grand staircase begins to ascend into the depths in the northern direction.
Oh. Welp.
And with that, we're going to take a break.
Huh. Imagine that. It goes to a different place.
imagine the teleporter goes to different spaces. Okay. All right. If you're watching the stream, thanks so much. Really appreciate it as Group 5 begins to navigate a place that I honestly, we'll see what happens. I don't know. We picked it. We're going. We'll see what happens. So anyways, we'll be back 10 minutes or so. So 7:02 p.m. PST. And if you're watching, hopefully you join us then.
Bye, chat.
All right, welcome back. For joining us. Thanks so much. So we go with Group 5, delving into Felkin. All right. So I'm going to go ahead, Tartan, I'm going to pull you to scene based on where you're currently at. Okay, so this is what you're seeing. You're not necessarily on the map. I'm just going to give you sight of what you're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Because the staircase is descending down really kind of underneath the level of this place. So it definitely seems like it's kind of going maybe 15 feet down roughly, right? So it's not very far underneath, and then has like a 15 like tall ceiling height. The same bronze blackish metal paneling is on either side and even the ceiling here. The stone tiling also changes to something a little bit more pristine rather than cobbled, right? It's also kind of changing in that way. You notice as you're staring off into the direction of the space is that there are these lanterns or lamps that extend from the same bronze material, and they're kind of twisted and turned a little bit. And then the glass, as they have these cylindricals with like a little bit of a lid on top, they are filled with these almost permacrystals that are glowing. And the same chromatic light that you saw from the glass orbs, you see here as well, suggesting that maybe those glass orbs were really just vesicles for the crystals that are permanently glowing in that same chromatic kind of light effect. The intersection ahead of you is splitting in a dramatic fashion. 2 to the left, 2 to the right, 2 to the north. For the rest of the party here, you see that Tartan has disappeared in sight. What do you all three do?
Seeing as I think we all expected it to just be another puzzle room, I imagine wait around expecting him to pop back in like 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. So you're just like waiting. So Tartan, what are you doing then?
I'm gonna walk down to the junction because Tartan's curious.
Okay.
He's
so I'm gonna
also
pull
kind
you.
of an idiot.
Okay, I'm gonna pull you back to scene.
All right. So yeah, I'm going to 10 feet at a time, just kind of carefully walk to the corridor and look down.
Okay. See left and
Interesting.
right. You can hook around.
I'm guessing this does the same. Oh, very interesting. Was there a button or anything on that back wall for me to press to teleport back?
There was, yep.
I will go back and press the button.
Okay.
So.
So you go back, you touch on, and you are teleported back onto the other side.
All right. So this is why we trust but verify. It's not the same room over there. And Tartan will step back onto the plate.
You come back into space, you say the one-liner, you step onto the plate, sphere begins to generate around you, you're teleported.
You know, it would have been useful if he had said what was on the other side of it.
Yeah.
Or literally anything else. I suppose we'll have to find out for ourselves. He wasn't dead, so that's a good sign.
Okay. All right. So is everyone going through? Seeing Harrison shaking a head, seeing everyone step up to the plate. Okay.
Hey, guys.
But what do you know? Something that's not a puzzle. At least not yet.
Well, so like there's these corridors. I don't know where they lead.
Congratulations, you found a bloody maze.
Yeah, hopefully there's not a Minotaur this time.
Yeah, it's all went out like a small child.
As you step forward, a creature that's like kind of a trigger, like a pyramid-like shape, three-dimensional, begins to actually detach itself from the wall. As it does, it flies 5 feet, twisting and moving with multiple different levers and probes. As it is, begins to ring out, "Intruder! Intruder!" It begins to yell out in common as an alarm begins to erupt, filling the space and the halls. I need everyone to roll initiatives.
What is that noise?
Tom did it.
Oh,
Oh, I am rolling like crap tonight.
at
It's
least
all
that
good.
wasn't the lowest.
Nereus, you're first. Actually, hold on, not yet. Let me roll Ares. Yeah, Nereus, you're first. And I'm gonna pause the alarm so we don't need to listen. But yes,
Well, you
that
don't
is-
want to drive us insane. I feel like
No,
that's
let's
gonna
continue.
build. Turn off that noise.
All right, 15 is going to smash into it. As it does, it gets exploding, hitting into the back wall, and it kind of crumples down, falling to the floor.
Oh,
The alarm continuing. Back just a little bit here. It's going to get there. Sir Dougal, as a spider, you get to see another one floating towards you on the right side here as it is intruders, intruders, as it's continuing to state that. It then is going to fire off a cackling, kind of a lightning strike, if you will, in your direction.
oh,
As it does, that is going to be just an absolute miss as it strikes into the pillar, firing off, bouncing the metal, and ends its turn. Another voice, intruders, intruders, flies off. This one of a different direction. Targets Ares, and as it does, it fires off a lightning strike. Which is going to be a miss. Ending turn. Now come to Ares. All right, Ares, we got our sharpshooter. Yeah, we do. Always enabled. Targeting the first one that it sees, which is down the left side. Firing away. Natural 1. Not so great on this one. Just a bad miss. Fires off a second arrow. 20. That's going to hit and deal 21 points of piercing damage as it lands in center chest and explodes. Ares is then going to take 15 feet of movement, getting out of line of sight, ending turn. Athos, you're next.
I suspect there's something else coming. Those don't seem to be particularly good at defense.
Corridor continues into the darkness, which is illuminated by the crystal, and seems to go 20 feet off map to the south to just a wall with the same kind of rune and a bronze plate that is alongside. It's 20 feet off map to the south.
Okay, well, I will action dash. And bonus action dash.
Okay. That's actually where we're going to be,
Yeah.
right? That's your full movement.
Yep.
Okay.
And yeah, he'll end his turn. He'll be
Okay.
ready to check out that plate.
All right, ending turn. Intruders. Another one begins to fly. Fires off towards the spider. 18 hits the spider. All right, Constitution saving throw is success, as this was attempting to stun you. You take 12 points of lightning damage as you are electrocuted. Ending turn. Another one begins to fly. This one's going to use a dash. There. Tarn, you're up next.
hey guys, I think we're going this way, and I'm just gonna follow after Athos. After hearing him run down the hallway, I will action dash to there.
Okay.
End my turn.
All right, Sir Dougal, spider. That's for your web. It's automatically recharged because we're learning this shit. So, Sir Dougal, you're up. Trying to unmute yourself, I see.
We're going to run away. Actually, I'll see Nereus there and decide that maybe I should be the last person to run away. So I'll bonus action rage, and then I will target the thing, the sentry looking thing, to my right,
Okay.
and shoot a web at it.
All right. It's going to prompt you for the recharge. Just keep rolling until you succeed. You throw it up. And it might take a little while. Okay. It's going to take a while. Keep going. Keep going. You almost have it recharged. This is going to work. Come on, baby.
Holy.
Oh
three,
my
dude.
gosh. What is this? There we go. And we fire it. 13 is going to hit. And as you do, you're able to web it, which is going to restrain this particular creature. And then it kind of falls to the ground.
And then I'll end my turn.
All right. Ending turn. It's to fly in the direction of all of you. To the north. Nereus, you're up next. Round 2. Firing up a burst of cold. 18 is going to hit. And that does 13 points of cold damage, shattering into oblivion. A bunch of gears and other sorts of cogwheels falling off its internals. All right, we come to Ares. Ares is going to follow along with the party. So 10 feet there, additional 15, and then 5. And then take their dash here to get to the edge, and also line of sight down to the west, ending turn. Those, you're up next. Don't move your token, please.
Sure.
You're pulled to scene.
and alarm bots immediately activate.
Okay, so you can see down to the south. This is basically moving 5 feet. So you've gone only 5 feet of movement. You can see that it's the same kind of etched kind of ward or rune inside the stonework there, and that bronze plate at the center.
Interesting. He will move up and I guess wait for everybody else, because if they come into an empty room, they might be super confused.
Yeah. Okay, so you're just gonna wait on.
Yeah.
All right. You go ahead and end your turn there. Your vision is not going to be, so you can't have any vision there. So the sentry is going to move roughly 20 feet, look in the direction of you, Sir Duel, and fire off a lightning to your direction. It's going to hit you 18. Prompt you for a save. Succeeding with a 23, you only take 5 points of lightning damage from the electrocution. Ending turn. Come to the next one. This one's going to move 20 feet. And then is within range to fire its lightning snare here. Shooting in the direction of you. You're able to dodge, get out of the way. Tardan, you're up next. Which I imagine you are heading off map.
Yep. On to the panel.
Okay, I'm going to pull you to scene. You've gone a total of 10 feet or so. So now you're on scene here.
I will end my turn here with Athos.
Okay, ending your turn there. Cycle back around. Sir Dougal, you're up next.
I'm going to run away.
Okay.
We'll try to web this guy if it recharges.
It is recharged. It was successful.
Amazing. Web again.
All right. You're successful in your restraint here. Wraps up.
And then I'll keep the flank covered. And end my turn.
All right. End turn. All right, Nereus, we come to the top of round 3. All right, 22 is going to hit, and you do 6 points of cold damage. As you do, you can see it shatters and explodes as well.
Thanks, Sir Dougal. By the way, they're bolts I don't think will hurt me, but appreciate it.
All right, and we come to Ares. I'm just going to state Ares is heading down south with the rest of the party. And at this point, we're going to actually break initiative as the creatures do not move nearly as fast as you all if you are indeed. Sir Dougal, I imagine you're the person I need to ask because everyone else is now moving away.
I'll track with them.
He's going to kill them all.
Yes, I charge.
XP, we're leaving behind.
I'm just covering our retreat.
Okay.
How much
I'm gonna-
XP are we really losing here? You know?
We don't know. These could be worth a ton.
What is XP?
Give me 1 second. I'm going to now drop tokens down and then adjust onto that. All right, everyone is now on scene.
Yeah, so I was looking for a switch to turn off the bloody noise bots, but I found another plate.
That alarm, by
Touch
the
it.
way, the alarm is continuing. It has not stopped.
Is it quieter now that we're further away, or is it
No,
like
it's just emanating from the
surround
walls.
sound speakers? Nice.
Yep.
All right, we can go. I just didn't want you to come into an empty room.
Sir Dougal, come on.
Coming.
All right, so at this point, Sir Dougal, your
Okay.
rage has ended. You all are teleported into the space. Upon coming here, you can see immediately one of the sentries begins to become powered up. As it begins to yell outwards, "Intruders! Intruders!" I need everyone to roll initiative.
These things are bloody everywhere.
You know,
Where's
I
the
realize
power button?
I realize where we are right now. We're in Nomergon.
Oh, it's so great.
Just wait for the farty troglodytes to show up.
All right, first up is Ares. Ares always got sharpshooter on. Fire away. Natural 20, by the way. On the initiative and the arrow. 31 points of damage as the arrow lands,
think it's
stunts
dead.
in as it explodes. Into combat.
All right.
There's likely more around the
Whoa.
corners.
Oh, son of a.
Aren't you glad you stayed back here, Ares?
Okay. I'm also, for some reason your tokens got switched, so give me 1 second. Actually supposed to be on this side. It's actually be super, it doesn't change anything, so just FYI. Okay. All right, I'm gonna have a pause now as you step forward. So immediately Tardan and Athos, from what you're able to observe, so you did come down the right side. I had, for some reason, put you on the left. I had a little like dyslexic moment with your tokens there. That was super weird. So you can see that there are these electrical currents that are spanning these alcove pockets in space. Inside of them are these mechanical constructs of some kind, these orbish-like centers, which are large and open. With a decent radius, and they have these almost portcullis, like an ocular something that they observe to look through. They're quite top-heavy, which means their arms kind of dangle downwards, and they can hit into the ground, and their legs are actually backpedal, so that, or not backpedal, but their knees are bent backwards, right? So they kind of have almost like a mech warrior type vibe to the walking mechanism there. But their gauntlets are thick; they can be kind of closed through. They seem to be in some sort of stasis bath. There's like this purplish kind of liquid that's underneath in the mid torso as they're kind of sunk down at the alcove, right? So you're only seeing half of them. And then the rooftop of that, ceiling height here is about 12 feet. And then that is only about 10 feet or so. This creature is very tall, considering that some of its body's inside of the coolant. They seem to not be moving. The electrical curtain in front of them is a trio. So there's one top, middle, and then bottom, and they're kind of bouncing back and forth like a barrier of some kind. The intruder from that sentry has stopped, but that alarm is continuing.
Suppose we don't want to
my.
wake these.
There are quite a lot of them.
Is there one in everything?
Now, as you begin to look and giving you a description of the space, you can see there is 2 of the chromatic orbs on the left and right of this particular room with the bronze plate at its center. You can also see a room down here with seems to be almost like a library or a study. And you also observe another sentry-like creature there. There is another sentry creature over here, and it appears that there is a room all the way down here with like a library study, which is almost mimicked on the other side with its own sentry. Nothing seems to be coming at you or moving at the present time, but you are, at this point, kind of frozen still. Just like looking, staring around. To answer your question, Tardan, yes.
I think it might behoove us if I quietly dispose of the sentry down there before we go any further.
You have a ranged way to take care of it?
Sure.
That didn't
Man.
make me feel very confident.
I can just throw a firebolt from here.
That's fair. Yeah, my range is a bit closer. Can you do it
yeah.
quietly, though?
I mean, it's a firebolt. It doesn't go boom. It
Hush,
just-
hush bolt. Whisper bolt.
Yeah, I would like to try to firebolt the one at the end of the hallway that we see kind of on the chandelier.
Okay,
Don't fuck it up.
good target and fire. So you launch it outwards, it smashes into it. You notice that it hits words, and this creature is actually immune to fire damage. As such, it begins to move, but it doesn't do anything. It just kind of moves and rotates a little bit. And at your backside, you hear the sounds of mechanical gears whirring. Some creature begins to actually emerge. As such, it actually steps forward out of the coolant, dripping from its body. It then turns. A voice actually emanates out of it in common. Magic is not permitted on the lower levels. I need everyone to roll initiatives.
You just couldn't let me stab the bloody thing.
How was I supposed to know that it was immune to fire damage?
I honestly wish they were speaking in Gnomish.
Oh, I suppose Nereus doesn't like this very much, huh?
But imagine if
Tartan,
everything they
you're
were saying, we
first.
didn't know what they were saying.
Yeah, imagine, right?
Be like, you're like, what is that? That's what Gnomish says. It's a little leprechaun-y.
Is that how you imagine Gnomish?
Oh, tell me,
Yeah.
tell me the rainbow.
But you gotta say it in a way we don't understand.
Yeah, the button go over the. Yeah, you gotta like go quick at it.
I am gonna try something really dumb with my action. I want to look at this thing that's coming out of the pool and say, sorry, we're new here. We didn't know the rules. I apologize. No more magic. I promise. And see if it understands language or comprehends what's going on, or if it's just a robot.
Okay. At the end of your turn.
Yep.
Okay. Ending turn. Takes a step forward, begins to raise its hand. Show me your credentials. As it begins to kind of turn and rotate, kind of hunches down a little bit back onto its legs. Ares is going to hang tight, back up a little bit, and roll stealth. Aethos are next.
Oh boy. I hope you know what you're doing, Tardan.
So, two.
Good luck. And yeah, that'll end this turn.
Alright, Nereus, you're up next.
I think I'm gonna let this play out.
Oh, you had to walk away from me.
I'll take the dodge action.
Okay. And our spider. Your web is
That-
recharged.
I'm just gonna get in front of. I'm just gonna get between the squishies
Okay, so
and
as you
I'll take
come
the
up
dodge
into
action.
okay, take the dodge action. As you come up into space, you notice immediately the actual mechanical creature looks at you, and a spider, as it looks, raises the gauntlets. Insectoids will need to be exterminated. The lower levels. So it begins to turn in the direction of the spider. Raises its
Everybody, please
Oh,
stop
yeah.
pissing off the robot.
No magic, Sir Dougal. Narius, may I borrow your staff? And I'm gonna step towards.
Begin to step towards, takes attack of opportunity to grapple you. Please make an opposing athletics or acrobatics.
Hey, you got guidance. Yeah.
Do have guidance. Acrobatics. Oh.
Right, an 11
Yep,
does
a
not
big
beat a
one.
26 as it wraps its hand around you. Its grapple is a restraint as it clutches onto you.
Tarden, are you gonna come and get the staff or not?
Hey,
begins
come
to-
show him the staff.
It begins to raise you up into the air. I was not finished.
Sorry, he has the credentials. And I will, I guess, end my turn here.
Ending your turn, creature then begins to move 10 feet. As such, it carries you in the specific arm. I'm going to actually keep you in that one. It's just holding on to you, just grabbing. It's the whole gauntlet of this mechanical creature and different nuts and bolts and things. And the way that works just wraps around your body, just picks you up and just turns. As it does, raises the next one. No insectoids. It goes in for a slam of the other one on directly on top of Sir Dougal. And I don't know why it's rolling with disadvantage.
You took the
Because
dodge.
I'm dodge
right.
action.
His
Okay.
dodge. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, 14 is going to miss as it comes through, and you're able to kind of nimbly just leap onto the side of the wall as it crunches down. It slams into the ground. It picks itself up. Ares is up next. Ares is going to go along with everyone else at this point. It's kind of having an arrow inside of the bow, but continues to take 10 feet back, and it's just kind of waiting to see if anybody's attacking it or what's going on. So it's going to take a hold action to fire. Athos, you're up next.
Yes. He is going to bonus action hide and try to sneak this way.
Okay, go and make a stealth check, please. Okay. All right, ending your turn.
Yes.
Nereus.
I don't think this will work, Tarden. I'll move up behind the spider and hold up the staff. Yes, look, I'm in charge. Look at this. Gonna wave the staff.
Okay. Gonna end your turn there. Sir Dougal, you're up next.
I don't know if I drop my form, will he think the insectoid is gone? Okay, well, okay, so it seems like me being a spider is what's part of the problem. I will drop the form and revert
Okay.
to Sir Dougal.
Okay. I'll do that for you here.
Yeah, why didn't that work?
Watch you back. You can fill any of the space, whatever you want. So you can be there if you like.
I'll go here and take the dodge action again.
Lupines are not allowed on the lower levels.
Okay, taking the dodge action and ending the turn. Tarden, you are still restrained inside of the creature's hand. The creature is still picking up its fist as it struck into the ground. It continues to move, and steam pours in through many different of its vents as it is moving.
Look, we got that staff from a gnome friend of ours. He told us to come here, and I'll end my turn.
Ending turn. Can now come to the mechanical creature. That is a staff of warding. All in Felgrim carry. I need credentials. This is a restricted space. Points you directly now. What is the name? As these two vents begin to open up, and this lightning vapor begins to kind of cackle within the two vents on either side of its ocular-like appendage. Ares, continuing status quo, continues to take a step back, just slowly and surely, takes another hold, and then Ethos, you're next.
I was checking my notes real quick. Yeah, he will continue to sneak this way.
Okay.
And then bonus action dash.
Okay, just note if you are if you're not actively using your
Is that
stealth,
breaking the stealth? Yeah.
That is breaking stealth if you dash.
Okay, I will not do that. I'll just in there.
Okay. That's because these sentries are actually actively. This one is moving in the room, so it's like twisting and turning. So you have to like continuously like maintain that stealth because you are being something is trying to perceive right now. Nereus, it's your turn.
You might want to step to your right, Sir Dougal. Who am I? Who are we? Tresgel the Cog, our senses are gods.
That wasn't the name.
All right, 15 as it does goes into the heavy black metal plating, and the bronze also welded into the mixture of the same walls, right? Hits in and doesn't puncture through. Sir Dougal, you're up next.
I guess it's a little late now to.
We don't know what this guy's name is, so like.
So
Didn't
Sir
we get the
Dougal
names?
remembers a name. Yeah, I remember a name. Oh, I'm gonna attack him.
God damn it.
Make sure
no.
to step to your right, Sir
Damn it.
Dougal. Step
Oh,
to
no.
your right.
Actually, I wonder. Do you think? Oh.
Yeah. I'm just gonna let it go. You know what? No, I'm not gonna tell you anything else at this point. No help. All you. You can attack. You can attack.
think.
You said you thought a name. What are we thinking?
Don't you remember that there was a gnomish wizard that his name was it Airpip?
No, that's
No.
from
No.
Harok. That's the one that's enslaved.
Okay,
his
I will give you one hint. Okay, Strella Forgorn at the Stormy Inn. Said it.
That's not a hint at all.
It's on my phone.
That's a hit, bro. That is so a hit. That's the conversation. That's exactly where the name drop happened. He's
Yeah,
on.
Maybe I
on
wasn't
my
there
phone.
for that one.
You might not have been there for that.
Because I'm like, that doesn't mean anything to
Yeah.
me.
No. Surgical had a very intimate conversation with Strella Forgorn, and Strella Forgorn actually spoke about where they came from and everything, and it completely correlates.
It would have been funny if you just been like, Pip. I mean, maybe Pip is from here. We don't know.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true, right? You could drop.
I was gonna say Airpip.
I'm
But
going to
that's-
give you. So technically, we are in
Shella
combat.
Thornborn
This thing.
told me about. Told me about. She was an innkeeper from the Stormy Inn and a refugee from Jinrula, and she told me about Paxina.
She did tell you about Pexine, but that's not the name.
And she told me about Dumley Gullbelly.
Still not the name.
And she told me about.
So Dougal's just going through his Rolodex, just saying names,
I
and tossing
am.
them on the ground.
I'm reading my notes. I'm looking through my notes. Okay. Well, I'm gonna attack. You know what? I'm gonna say Pip. I'm gonna say Pip, and I'm gonna see what happens.
Okay. Say your Pip. Ending your turn.
If I can take a dodge action, I'll take a dodge action.
Yeah, you can take dodge actions.
Yeah, and then I'll end my turn.
All right, Tardan.
Fuck, what was the name?
You have it too. I know you do. You know it. You know it. That's sad. Oh. All right, Tardan. What are we doing?
Man, I don't remember what the name of the mage on top of the tomb was.
Yeah, he told us his name, but I didn't write it down. That was literally my first session with you guys. I have only a few.
I didn't
notes.
write it down.
And why
either.
would Nereus bother bringing his name?
Because you took his staff and didn't you also get a ring from him?
He didn't
Ares
take
has
the
a
ring.
Ares has the ring. That's right. Ares stole the ring. I forgot about that. Borrowed the ring.
He was going to bring it back, and then the guy said he could have it. I was like, okay, bye.
All things come full circle in this game, baby.
I got a dragon, so I feel good.
Yeah, I was hoping that one of the people that took the items from it would have the name. I just knew that we had the items from Felgrim. That was all the information I had.
That's not why we came here, though. We came here to fix.
That's
Yeah, I
it.
know,
Ethos.
but
Mhm.
I was just trying to.
Or we
rely
would
on
have
somebody
kidnapped
else's
a
info.
gnome and thrown him in here and been like, tell us what this says. Tell that thing what
Anything
your
so I can
name
roll a
is.
history check to remember the gnome. The
Yeah.
magistrate.
You wanna
I
roll
know
a
he's a
history check?
magistrate.
You've already
No,
rolled it.
this thing. Come on, we can't kill this thing.
Come
God,
on.
don't be scared. Come on.
Come on.
There's like 800
I
of them.
cannot. I cannot remind you of the name of this individual
Oh.
unless you had keen mind. If you had keen mind, I might be able to be willing to help you out.
All right, then I'm going to, I guess, hold my action for him to take any hostile action, and I will polymorph myself into a, what was that, a giant turtle? I think that was a large creature.
You're gonna try to become a giant turtle.
Teenage
Giant
Mutant Ninja
snapping
Turtle
turtle.
time.
Can a turtle fit in
I
here?
haven't.
Yeah, it's a large creature.
Okay. All right. It's
Giant
I have a
snapping
name,
turtle.
but it's from my other notebook, so it doesn't count.
You're not even here. You're like, I don't even know where you are.
AWOL, bro. All right. So we're gonna end your turn. We now come to the creature. The wizard Earpip was sentenced long ago. Are you friends with this one? Gets to speak. Ares continues. Athos, you're next.
Continues his sneaky path. And we'll then toss a dagger at this nice security bot.
So you're coming into space. This is slightly elevated, about 15 feet in its height. You're noticing there's bookshelves, 3 tiers. A lot of these books in here are, all these books in here, I should say, are written in Gnomish. And these are bronze metallic tables with very plush, nice, cottony scissor chairs. So throw off a dagger. Getting the advantage, as it does not detect your presence, takes 7 points of piercing damage, kind of shatters and falls into the ground.
Bonus action, he will just quickly scan the room for switches, panels, anything that might do a thing.
Yeah, so you're trying to look around the room as best as possible. It does not seem like there's any switches or levers of any kind that you can observe in this. The walls themselves are flat metallic panels that have been welded on. The shelving of these books are actually inlaid into grooves. They've actually made little pocket spaces in the metal wall, continuing that at the backdrop. You're looking through the volumes of books, trying to see if there's any spaces for a door or any secret things that might catch your eye, but you do not with your passive perception.
He will end his turn.
All right, Nereus, you're up.
You're seriously not attacking this thing. Ares, that's kind of your area. I guess I'll just take the dodge action.
Tell Ares, why isn't Ares firing at it?
Yeah. I mean, if we're in a magical school, it's probably not great against arrows. It's probably good against magic.
Ares is going to go along with what people are doing, which is apparently trying to get a negotiation.
Nereus tried to attack it last time. He just missed.
Still waiting on a reply, Sir Dougal.
I need like a solid 20 minutes to find this name.
You have 6 seconds.
Yeah, great. Just a little
We
shy. I guess we're gonna attack.
Okay.
I just can't think of it. I'm gonna attack recklessly.
Nice.
All right, I'll put it on you. All right, 23 is going to hit as you come through with the rapier. You do 7 points of piercing damage to stab through one of its legs.
And then I'll end my turn.
All right, so as your turn, we're actually going to have a cascade of hold actions here. So that's why Ares is going to go first. Ares' held action was if your negotiations fell apart, considering that surgically you were initiating that at the forefront, and that has now turned into you stabbing. Ares is now going to fire off with sharpshooter the first arrow, slinging away. That's going to be a natural 1. Which is going to just be a horrendous miss as they're aimed too high, trying to not hit you, currently clutched in the hands of this creature. And then with the hold action, I believe you still get the second attack. Entire attack action, so 14 is going to miss as well, so that thumps into the heavy armor and sheared off. Now we come to the creature. The creature is going to take their held as they were holding an action themselves, coming across with just one of its fists as the other one is occupied upon you, Sir Dougal. A 22 is going to hit you as it crashes down. You take 24 total points of bludgeoning damage as it smashes you into
Shut
the
up.
as it shimmies. Intruders shall be dealt with harshly. Arden, you're up next.
Okay. Would I have gotten my polymorph from it taking a hostile action?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm
Okay.
going at.
Okay.
It coincides with the start of your turn, unfortunately.
Okay.
So there's not a hold action is holding your reaction to take place when something, and so those all cascaded down. Now we come
On to my turn.
to
Okay.
your turn.
All right. I think I'm going to stick with my plan and polymorph myself into a giant snapping turtle.
All right. So now you got to give me a chance to find a snapping turtle. You got to tell me what you're going to start going into. So let's see if
I was looking for something large that I could think that I would have seen, and a turtle makes sense with all the.
okay.
swimming
So
that we've done.
you want a giant snapping turtle?
Yes.
All right. You're going to give me just a little bit. I need to get artwork on it.
You have 7 seconds.
Yeah. The hard part is finding stuff that I have seen.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you're feeling here. Shouldn't be a problem. I'm able to find it here. Just want to get that right. Want to get the right token for the job here.
Should have just turned into a T-Rex and crashed the whole room.
The interesting part is all I have is a small sized turtle, so I'm wondering if this is gonna be tiny. I guess we're gonna
Oh,
find out.
can't
Here we go.
Stretch the artwork.
Just like a tiny little turtle.
Oh, that's actually
Hold on.
kind of what I picture a giant snapping turtle to look like.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna boost it up in size a little. Oh yeah. Okay, you are gonna break the restraint because this creature cannot restrain with this effect a large size creature. So that's a break.
Oh, look how cute he is.
You drop and hang off of the left side. It's actually a really adorable one. It's a fantastic top down. Okay. All right, Tard, you're up.
I just use polymorph as my action, so I guess I'm chilling. I'm hanging out.
Okay.
That'll be the end of my turn.
All right, we now come to the mechanical creature. As we come to the mechanical creature, we're going to go ahead and cue some action Old Town music.
All of the other ones come to life too.
See the vents open, cackling with that breath. It begins to release some sort of lightning out of it. This gaseous nature begins to create a kind of a static-like cloud effect as it protrudes out directly in front of it. Sparkles in space. Star Jurgle, you're the only one in this range, so it's now impacting you. As the light begins to trace around, filling the space. Okay. All right. Oh, and Darius, it prompted you too?
It did, but
yeah, you're too far out of the range of it, so no worries. Okay, so
I mean, I
Sir
can roll it if you want, but he's immune to lightning, so
yeah, you're good. Yeah. So you are out far of the range anyways, just to state that. But yes, you are immune to lightning, so this does no damage to you. So Sir Dougal, we come now to you. This is a big one. Constitution saving throw of 20 is going to be successful, and you're able to half 56 total points of lightning damage to 28. As it erupts, you see the vents kind of close in, and then there's kind of this sound of churning and building up in its system. As it does, it kind of lowers its arms a little bit as they fall to the floor, suggesting it has a far reach. And then mutters only one word. Intruders! Intruders! And continues to yell that outwards. Ares is next. Ares targets the creature, fires up a bow. 24 is going to hit this creature and deal a total of 20 points of piercing damage as it lands into its center of its ocular appendage, then fires off a secondary arrow. And then it's going to be another natural 1. That is just another bad miss as well. All right, Athos, you're up next.
Dear, it does not sound like it's going well in there. Athos wasn't there for the aforementioned conversation and does not remember the name of the ghostly little gnome. But having a well-read person, famously familiar with history, based on the common knowledge of both Felgim and the Purge, are there any key figures that he would remember from those stories and histories?
You can take an action as a history check if you want to try to recollect.
Yeah.
What I can offer you. 23. The Age of the Great Purge happened when it was brought to the shores of Felgim. There was one particular gnome at the time that stood with the individuals at the tower that attempted to stop the Talthar forces, and the name was Headmaster Porig.
Which is in my other notebook, and I had no excuse to know it. Okay, excellent. With that, he will begin to bonus action hide, stealthily move back towards the group.
Okay. All right, we're going to end your turn there. Nereus, you're up next.
all right. He's gonna make a little baby tidal wave just in the creature's square.
A little baby title.
Well, I mean, it'll be, it's not gonna hit Sir Dougal.
baby. Okay. You don't need to put the template down.
Okay, good.
Don't put that
Because
down.
it targeted everything.
Yeah, don't do that. What is the DC for the strength save?
The dexterity save 16.
Okay, dex save 16. Coming at you. All right, it's failed.
So it's not prone.
Okay.
20 bludgeoning damage.
Takes 20 bludgeoning damage as the wave kind of hits it and smashes into the metal. You see the metal is actually dented from the weight of the creature smashing into it.
I'll move a little closer.
All right, Sir Dougal, you're up next.
We're gonna cast Healing Spirit on myself.
All right, so you're going to be concentrating on this effect. You call forth this natural spirit, right, to invoke in the space. So as this fills in the space, which is on yourself, any creature that starts for the first time in a turn or starts its turn there, you can cause the spirit to restore 1d6 hit points, and it gives you a number of times equal to 1 plaster modifier. So it's going to heal you for a total of 6. Is this the first time? Space.
And then bonus. That is a bonus action.
Yeah, for a healing
action
spirit,
dodge.
Yeah, it's bonus action. Action dodge. Okay. All right, dodging coming up. All right, we come to the Stamping Turtle. You won't have an icon thing underneath because we changed your token just in size, so
Yep.
it doesn't pop up when I do that. So you're up.
I am going to bite it.
All right, going for a bite. Does 13 is not going to land.
Come on,
Just
Tardan. I knocked it on the
slow.
ground for you.
Slowly coming out of your shell.
And that will be the end of my turn.
Okay. Now picks itself up, turns in the direction of the turtle. Reptilian species are not permitted on this level. Goes
There's a
into
lot
slam
of
attacks
rules on this level.
on your back. Goes in for a series of multi-attack, 2 slam attacks. First one, 22, strikes into your shell. 31 total points of bludgeoning damage, crashes onto your shell. Slaps downwards. Succeeding to concentrate and polymorph, you're still the turtle. Goes in for its second attack for the other fist. Hits down with an 18. 32 total points of bludgeoning damage, smashes down, crushing your shell into the stonework in the frame. You have now failed on your Constitution saving throw and are reverted back to your previous form. I'll let you occupy whatever space you so choose. As it does, it looks at you, right now that you've now come back, and just kind of, as it does, it turns its attention to the rest of the party. Ending turn. Ares is next. 2 arrows coming out. 22 hits. 18 piercing damage. Fires up a second arrow. 10 is going to be a flat miss. They're going to end their turn. That's your next.
He will continue to move up. And then once in range, he will shout at the robot. Stand down in the name of Grandmaster Porig. We are here on a vital mission to cleanse the Well of the Nine Realms. You are impeding our work.
Cheater.
End his turn.
Ending turn. Combat is over. Turns and looks. Headmaster Porig. Stands upright, begins to think for a moment. Cleansing the Well of the Nine Realms. What is your name?
My name is Athos Villon.
Athos Valar. One moment. The ocular erupts, begins to almost scan you, top down. And scans upright. You have been touched by the gift of the Old One. Contact.
Yes. Contacting the Old One.
A gnome teleports behind you. I'm gonna go ahead and give a description. One moment.
Oh, is it like nothing personnel kid and just like slits his throat?
Don't you say my name.
You said it teleports behind him. I mean, that's what I thought. Oh.
Arcane Trickster Rogue.
I love it. That's so great. Okay. So this seems to be an old male forest gnome with large ears, a great wiry gray beard. They have a dark gray and maroon wrap around the head, a robe made of similar colorations with tan leathers and hide. They carry a brown cloth satchel and a large wooden, neatly polished quarterstaff at their side. They currently have a pipe jutting out of their mouth, puffing smoke as they stare directly at you, Athos, and the creature. Teleporting into space, looks... What the fuck is the meaning of this? What is this? Why have I been summoned? Mark 230576? Turns. This one used your name. Telling purpose. Well of 9 realms. To remove the contaminants. They have been touched by the gift of the old one. Authentication is needed by... Shut your damn trap! Go back to your fucking coolant! Affirmative. Turns around, begins to walk back into its space. As it steps into the coolant, the barrier of lightning traces in front of it, and then the coolant begins to seep up its armor and actually begins to heal it, almost curing the damage that's been dealt.
I want one of those.
No!
That's a fascinating contraption.
The hell are you all doing down here?
Pardon our intrusion. I got a touch disintegrated a few days ago, and I spoke to someone claiming to be a very ancient deity, and he sent me here. Said that perhaps the water from the well of the 9 realms could restore me. Upon our arrival, though, it would appear it's been tainted in some way. And then, well, we ran afoul of your mechanized friend, and your name was the only thing I could think of that might carry some weight around here, based on what I'd read in history.
Dead. Get down to my level. Good. Begins to pull your bottom eyelid down, raise your upper one, staring at your eye. Reaches the satchel, magnifying glass, taps it. Multiple magnifying glasses begin to form downwards in a conical-like fashion, staring at your eye. Puts it back into the satchel. How are all the others? Huh? Takes a puff. You see the cackling of purple and pink light within its eyes, as well as in tracing around its mouth as it lets go this breath of smoke from the pipe. Indeed. Nereus. Tardin. And Sir Dougal. Come.
We're gonna die down here.
Begins to fiddle with one of the orbs, twisting and turning it. Goes to the next one. Spits on it. It's a little shine. Pulls in a little lubricant can. Begins to pipe that underneath. Shifts it into position. Alright. Steps on the plate. Teleports to the side. Y'all do the same?
Here.
Come. Ethos Valar. Come. Yeah. Not you, damn it! Darn it, step a step back. Smokes. Turns and looks in your direction. I didn't think you'd be this stupid upon your arrival. That's fine. I understand. Athos Valar. Welcome to the Well of 9 Realms. not much to look at, but it's decent. So you're looking into this space. Is some sort of large tube. Okay, so this is extending up this like glass vat and extends to the 10-foot ceiling. It has like a 15-foot radius and it resides above a dense mass of like bronze and copper pipes and valves. There's a metal grate that surrounds the vat, and the sounds of rushing water at this point can be heard. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of get like a little bit of a stream thing going. If you're healing yourselves, just put the healing onto yourselves manually, please.
I gotcha.
The sounds of rushing water can be heard. Attached to the vat's north glass facing are a series of labeled levers. It appears they control maybe the influx of water and other sorts of things with those pipes, right? That's what you're kind of understanding by looking at it. Now, there are 3 glass orbs, and they sit in these beautiful golden bronze-like pedestals with the same metal rod that seems to extend downwards through the stone and goes maybe into the tubing and underground area of this whole labyrinth. Now, just the one here, this is telling you, just kind of points in the direction of it. Touch it! Points at the orb.
All right. Reach out and touch it.
You touch it, begins to slightly glow with a chromatic like aura, and then as you place your hand on it as well, it has like a whitish handprint, and the voice begins to echo into your mind. You have made it.
Yes, rather unexpectedly, as it were. What is it I'm meant to do here? Exactly. What did you want me to
I
see?
have been waiting for you chosen. I am what the gnomes of Felgum referred to as the Old One. This is the Well of 9 Realms, coined by them. I have been defined as an entity that does not reside in the dimension of time. I see all futures, all presents, and all pasts. You have been touched by one of the twin crystals of the other world, seed that was planted upon the world's creation by my own doing. Its own purpose is its own, as an unconscious mind.
Something like a viewport or a data recording device.
Functions only to give those with which they seek in visions of time. Cannot interpret complicated requests. Must be done simply. Crystal was abused by the Lich Utah Slitar. And then again, by Damodar.
Did Damodar want it?
It is powerful to see through time, albeit in one constant stream. Implications of beings like you function outside the bounds of the constant stream. Your actions are the definition of free will. That is why I need you.
Well, the crystal can't predict our actions. It can't see us through time.
It can, but it only sees one stream. But your actions
One
will
potential.
change that potential. I will cure
And
you
we
of what poison ails you. Your not only at this point, this is why we left it in your inventory, but not only is your dexterity going back up to its original value, but the actual breastplate, even in your inventory, begins to be essentially reverted back to its previous condition. Channeling in purple and pink cackling lightning kind of erupts around from the orb and traces around Athos. Athos, you've been having this conversation either out loud or in your mind. It's up to you. The voice is only in your mind, so no one else is able to hear this conversation. As it begins to happen, you are brought back to your previous dexterity, which I believe... my notes real quick. I think I had you at 18.
That's correct. Wow, that's impressive. You have my thanks. This power that you wield, it seems eerily similar to the power that Damodar wields, and so does our gnome friend over there.
Damodar is my enemy. It has corrupted the waters of the Isle, a place that was touched by me during the world's creation. The everlasting facts are potent. I am in a very limited capacity of my once former power by the corruption Damodar has put upon me. In my last efforts, I sent the essence of dragons throughout all time to guide them to reach the chosen ones, so that they may put a stop to Damodar. I do not know what Damodar had use of them, only that they were important in the ritual used. Damodar is empowered with my gifts, and so too shall you, in exchange for planting a seed of my being. I will give you eternal life and the power to absorb the light around you whenever you need it.
To plant a seed? What do you mean?
Seed will come to you in whatever form it chooses. And when it is required, it will tell you.
No, something big is coming. I have seen it. The details are fuzzy. But I have come to suspect that Damodar is at the center of all of it. So I accept your proposal as the enemy of my enemy.
As you accept the proposal, you can see the channeling of purple and pink cackling begins to erupt around you. As such, you seem to be invigorated with this gift of some kind, whatever has been stated to you. This something of absorbing light, which isn't becoming readily apparent at the present moment. Beyond that, the eternal life factor is more of like you don't age. You're not, you can still die and perish by means, right? But you will not age, right? So that's something that is there. And the palm of your hand is a tiny acorn. Acorn is similar to a simple thing from an oak tree. It's unassuming.
So I shall know when the time is right to plant this. And where.
That is correct.
Understood. The current path leads us to destroying the dragons in his employ, or at least taking them away from him in some capacity. But I suspect his power goes far beyond dragons. Is there something else that we need do to make him vulnerable, so that we may strike?
I do not know what makes Damodar vulnerable or not. They are shrouded from my foretellings. I only know that they must be stopped.
On that we are agreed. It would seem these stones, the essence of dragons, there are different forms, different strengths. We found a large one recently that gave quite a boon to a large dragon that is now presumably our ally, in so much as a dragon can be an ally. Is there a way for us to locate the others? A way to track them? You sent them out? Do you know how we can find them? How we can draw them to us?
I do not. As odd as it may seem, my function is not the same as it would assume to be. By sending the stones through time, I lost sight of them. Only I could manipulate those around the Chosen Ones, potentially be put in place. I believe there is another that would play more to this. I do not know that for certain.
I suppose we shall cross that bridge when we come to it. Aside from accepting this gift of yours and striking our bargain, is there... You mentioned you were diminished and corrupted. Is there some way, aside from killing Damodar, obviously, that we can help you with that?
That
You
is
need anything from
not.
us, I suppose.
That is not for you to do. Ulrich has accepted this task.
Oh,
Must
good.
remember,
So,
the very reason stones are shrouded and the way fates align them is so that others that seek them will not find them. Concept is very challenging for those with your mind. I believe you, as a chosen one, will be able to see the importance of this.
of course. So that may explain why, as powerful as Damodar seems to be, he doesn't seem to be able to keep tabs on us as much as you might think, or track us.
Stone, the essence of dragons, are inherent to be immune to divination. In addition, you each have splinters of power within you. That is why you are chosen. They are not the same power. Come from different sources.
So the thing within us is not the essence of dragons. It is something else. Being chosen is more than just carrying a stone.
That is correct.
And do you know, I presume not, or you would have just told me. You've been very straightforward. I appreciate that. What that splinter of power is or from whence it came?
It is foretold that the splinter of power was fractured during the time fracturing, the multitude of universes that were created from the diversity of timelines. There were the select individuals that these fractures of power from a deity were spread throughout. AKA, there was a time fracturing, so a single timeline that was fractured into a multiverse. During that moment, a deity, which might have some relation into doing this, right, causing this, that fracture splintered. Could be maybe the deity's power, could be something related to the cosmos energy, right? That is not something this entity knows.
So it would seem whenever Damodar has retrieved or earned this power that he wields goes beyond the essence of dragons, and whatever power it is that we supposedly possess also extends beyond these essence of dragons. There is something much larger at play. Probably two somethings.
Possibilities are endless.
I suppose that is your specialty. I thank you. I don't know that I could ask questions forever, but at some point they would only lead to more questions.
Of course. Questions only lead to more questions.
Sometimes the answers are worth it. I will take my leave if you have no more need of me.
I have no more need. You may bring forth your companions, and I will offer them something simpler, so that they mate or might combat Damodar.
Of course. I will convey your message. Okay, so I spoke with the old one. He still really hates Damodar. Frankly, there's a very long conversation we need to have about a whole lot of things. He told me quite a bit. In the short term, he healed me. I'm much better. I can juggle again. But he wants to offer all of you a gift. I will say his gifts do not come free. However, the cost seemed relatively minor, given what he was offering, at least in my case. But I would leave that up to you to discern for yourselves.
Would you be willing to tell us what the cost of your gift was?
He gave me a seed. Literally. I thought it was a metaphor. To plant. Just said he'd tell me where to plant it later.
I suppose that's the least we can do since we broke his other one.
Right. Yeah, we sort of blew up his crystal, which is rude, if we're honest. That might have been okay, though, because apparently Damodar was using it for some nefarious purposes, so it not being there might ultimately be a benefit. Part of that longer conversation.
Well,
Oh,
who wants
we're
to
all
be
sort
first?
We're sort of part god. We'll talk about that later, too.
Oh. Nereus probably already knew that.
Well, he probably always suspected.
Well, it's pretty rude to say it.
Well, after all of you find people, I'll volunteer to be last just in case, side effects and all that.
Oh, very brave of you. And also intelligent.
So brave.
Or if Dougal and Nereus don't want it, I'll go do it myself. Either way, whatever.
It doesn't hurt, I promise you that. He's quite one of the more agreeable, powerful people we've spoken with. Answered all of my questions to the best of his ability.
Sounds like he's offering something I've been after anyway. Just want to fight Damodar. I'm over this guy.
He's very much on board with the fight Damodar premise.
Marius, Dougal, your thoughts? Do you want to touch the orb?
Age
Do you
before
want to
beauty,
touch it
Tardan.
together? I will go touch the orb. Fine. Whatever. I'm over you guys.
Yeah, got you $1. Just kidding. Oh, it's too good. You touch the orb?
I will touch the orb.
Hello, chosen one. I am the old one.
Nice to meet you. I'm Tardan. I was told that you can help us against Damodar.
And I shall, in exchange for eternal life and the ability to charm all those around you. You must plant a seed.
I can do that.
Then it is done.
Slide begins to cackle around you in the palm of your hand. Very briefly seems to be some sort of egg-like sac. It is a spherical, gooey-like egg, almost like a frog egg that's been supersized, and it's inside of your hands.
Well, this was messier than I thought it was going to be. But this looks like fun. And I will go ahead and step away from the orb.
Okay.
They get progressively messier. Go ahead, Nereus. Wait till last.
I'll step up and I'll step up towards the orb at least.
Okay. Step towards it. Do you touch it?
I will touch it.
Hello, I am the old one.
Yes.
Who are you?
My name is Dougal, but I probably expect that you know that.
I do. Now that we are connected, in exchange for eternal life and the ability to absorb your enemy, I will give you a seed.
Sounds fair.
Then it is done.
Begins to cackle around you. In your hand is a very long orange carrot. Leaf and all.
He immediately eats it.
Wait a second. Not entirely sure. He said plant it. I think he just said I'll give you a seed.
That might be used to. Never mind. Well, Marius.
You touch it.
Yep.
Oh yeah, you touch it.
You
Hello.
get sloppy fourths.
I am the Old One, and you are the bearer of the gifts from the twin crystal of the other world. Your gift is already within, but I can see it is volatile. In exchange for eternal life, and to stabilize your gift of seeing the past, the present, and the future. You must plant and grow a new crystal of the other world. Crystal of the new.
I don't actually want to live forever, so thank you for the offer, but I'll decline.
So be it.
Okay. Take your hand off the you're gonna, or you can ask questions, right?
No, I mean, it doesn't have any
No.
questions.
Okay. Marius takes off and does not have anything, no cackling lightning around them or anything. Just takes the hand off the. All right. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and conclude the session so that Dustin can get involved with this when I get back.
Should have asked him for a robot.
Still make a deal with Porig, maybe. You can charm everybody now, apparently.
Oh yeah, that is true. I can test it out on Porig, see how this plays out. Ask for a
that,
robot.
that might play poorly. I don't know.
I mean, you did tell us that. Well, you didn't tell us, so never mind.
I like Eris in your face when I was like, absorb your enemies. You're like, wait, what? Wait, what? What
gonna
does
have to
that
eat
mean?
him.
Wild shape
eat
into a
him.
dragon.
What does that mean?
I kept thinking of that the characters from WoW was the MOBAs, right? Like it would hook them and like drag them in the big fat undead thing and it would, like suck them
Yeah.
into its stomach.
Yeah. I got you there. Yeah. All right. Calculate experience.
We got 0 XP. Wow. Yo, that robot had a lot of health.
Yeah, no, there was like 200 of them. This is what I was like. We're not fighting that shit. It's gonna fuck us up.
Yeah. There's
Yeah,
not.
did you say the robot had a lot of health and that's what scared you? Not the fact that he hit me for 60 points of damage in one round?
Yeah, he also hit me for 65 or some crazy number like that too. So yeah, I am with you. And there's like 800 of them. That's why I was trying to talk my way out of it to begin with.
I didn't take a single point of damage, so.
I mean, technically neither did Tardan.
You feel it when you get smacked around as a turtle.
I mean, that's fine.
Turtle.
You got smacked out of turtle. You got smacked so hard you turned into Tardan.
Ugh, dark days.
That turtle was useful. So now I have my large and my huge creature. I think I'm pretty set. I don't
So I
think
calculated to be
getting gargantuan beast.
1,620 experience each. That should put you at 42,315 if I did my mathematics right. So, all right. If you're watching the stream, thanks so much. We really appreciate it. As Group 5 got to delve into Felgum here and get to the Well-Nine Realms, and actually seems very positive, right? I mean, it seems to be an awesome time. I mean, it was a little bit fishy there with the construct, but we got through it. So,
Little bumpy,
anyways,
it's fine.
a little bumpy, yeah. So, hopefully, you join us next week. We get going again, and we hope to see you then. So, bye.
Bye.